It is my honor to call to session the 21st session of the 55th Senate. For all of those willing and able, you could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, we'll now be moving into our land acknowledgement.
Colorado State University acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples.
They're going to present their candidates. Each of them.
This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for numerous other native nations.
Everything's pretty much a
We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and all the relatives within it.
Blah, 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 blah.
As these words of acknowledgement
topic
are
is meant to be
spoken
the
and
relative
heard, the
competencies
ties
for
nations
participants
have
in
to
the
their traditional homelands are renewed and reaffirmed.
CSU is a land-grant institution, and we accept that our mission must encompass access to education and inclusion.
And significantly, that our founding came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land this university was built upon.
This acknowledgement is the education and inclusion we must practice in recognizing our institutional history, responsibility, and commitment.
Awesome. We'll now be moving into the swearing in of new senators and associates. If you are a new senator or associate, or if you're switching positions, if you could please join us at the front. I state your name.
I, Aaron,
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University,
and will rightfully perform
and will rightfully perform
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congrats. Thank you. With that, we'll now be moving into beginning roll call.
Speaker of the Senate Reese.
Here.
Speaker Pro Tempore Jadon. Parliamentarian Falbo.
Present.
Officer Eddington.
Present.
Senator Rodriguez.
Present.
Senator Farfan. Present. Senator Bashow.
Present.
Officer Diggs.
Present.
Senator Chalk. Chairman Monty. Senator Rivera. Associate Senator Wilkin. Associate Senator Cure. Senator Johnson.
Here.
Senator Pata Perez,
Present.
Senator Senator Ornelas,
Here.
Senator Granier,
Here.
Senator Garland,
Here.
Chair Quesada Stoner, Senator Vega,
Here.
Senator Candelario, Senator Leggett, Senator Flores, Associate Senator Gonzalez, Chair McLaughlin,
He was here. His stuff is still there.
Senator Hansen, Senator Batchanin,
Here.
Senator Grant,
Here.
Senator Bone,
Here.
Senator Mendoza,
Here.
Associate Senator Pratt, here, Senator Hernandez,
Online.
Senator Simpson,
Online.
Senator Frisky, Senator Fan, Chair Leary,
Present.
Associate Senator Allman,
Present.
Associate Senator Grube,
Present.
Associate Senator Harris, Associate Senator Vogel, Chair Gilroy, present, and Senator Singleton.
Present.
Awesome. With that, if you also are new, there's a fun little piece of paper for you to fill out all of your information on at the end of session. Also, if you could talk to me so that I can make sure you have my contact info, that'd be phenomenal. But with that, we'll now be moving into consent agenda. Do I hear any dissent to this agenda? Chair Leary.
I motion to put the ratification of Deputy Director for Environmental Affairs Jack McVeigh on the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, that'll be added to the consent agenda. For anyone new, that would just mean that instead of it being on the actual agenda, it would be listed under the consent agenda item. So when we approve the agenda, we're also approving the ratification of that candidate.
So we're doing that under consent agenda?
Yeah. Ignore that. Shut up. Officer Dix.
Motion to add election of housing caucus chair.
Where would you want that?
Can we put it after gallery input or at the start? Actually, at the start of confidence business.
Is there a second? Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, that'll be reflected at the top of confidence business. Is there any other dissent to this agenda? Awesome. With that, we'll now be moving into gallery input. Does anyone from the gallery wish to speak at this time? We'll run the mic to you.
I want to go up there. Yeah, I think all of us would.
Technically, for individuals outside of the Senate and authors to have floor rights, it would require a 2/3 vote of the Senate. I would entertain a motion to give our gallery members floor rights. If someone would like to make that motion, Senator Garland.
Motion to give the gallery input people floor rights.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, you guys can talk at the front now.
Just kidding.
Is it on?
Yeah. Thank you. Good evening, my fellow students, peers, and friends. I'm representing Students for Justice in Palestine, a student org that is part of a coalition called the United Front for Freedom, with several student organizations here today. Next week, Thursday 26th, at an engineering career fair, Woodward, HP, and Caterpillar will be coming to CSU campus to recruit CSU students as workers into the U.S. neo-colonial imperial regime. HP Computer Hardwares maintains data centers through their servers for the Israeli police. AG provides Atanium servers to operate the computerized databases of Israel's Population and Immigration Authority. This formed the backbone of Israel's racial segregation and apartheid. Israel has purchased D9 bulldozers and other vehicles from Caterpillar, often through special foreign military cells. These vehicles are used to demolish Palestinian homes and humans in Gaza. Woodward is an aerospace manufacturer that's headquartered right here in Fort Collins, right across the street from where many students live, including myself. And financial reports indicate that a significant portion of Woodward's revenue comes from munition sales. Bomb fragments have been found in Israel, used by Israel, have been found in Rafah, Gaza, that have been produced by Woodward. A lot of these images we saw circling after October 7th in 2023. In Rafah alone, over 50,000 people have been killed. I want to emphasize that this death toll is not only of the bodies that can be accounted for in direct deaths, not including people buried under rubble, people who lack medical access for pre-existing conditions or from starvation, and is not the complete death toll of Palestinians, period. Over 50,000 people in Rafah, where this Woodward bomb fragment was found. Over 50,000 people like you and I, who had dreams and aspirations and friends and mothers and siblings and community, just like you and I. Since 2023, the people of Rafah have been ethnically massacred from their ancestral homelands, just as they were in the first Nakba of 1948. In Palestine, as of today, recent reports that one child was killed via drone strike while digging through the rubble of his destroyed home. And a 20-year-old young man named Machem was killed by Israeli soldiers in Khan Yunis. And I look into this crowd of my peers, and I see many 20-year-olds. Why are 20-year-olds being murdered in Palestine, while 20-year-olds here in the United States, here in Colorado, here in Fort Collins, attend career fairs that seal their death? I don't know about you guys, but I've been watching the news, and every day it's something terrible and it's something terribly new. We have federal agents that are mass deployed in states across the US that are kidnapping people, deporting people without due process, and straight up shooting US citizens. Federal officers emptying their guns of their bullets into American citizens. Now, as a person of color, this isn't anything new. I'm sure as every black and brown person in this room can attest to, some of the earliest conversations we have with our parents is how to interact with cops so you don't get shot 101. But now they're straight up shooting white people in the streets in broad daylight. And that scares me. The tactics that ICE uses are the very same tactics that Israeli occupation forces use in the West Bank, in Gaza, and historic Palestine. Palestinians, just like immigrants and people of color in the US, have been kidnapped, labeled domestic terrorists, and executed in our own streets. When our institutions and communities in the US feed into genocidal atrocities abroad, these horrors come back and kill our own. The US war machine has been killing people here in the States forever. The technology that these companies use are first tested in Palestine, then is used on black and brown people here in the States, and that's how it's been for generations. The surveillance technology, the drones, the military Israeli terrorist training of our local police forces and ICE all comes from the US sending Israel the money, the materials, the corporate contracts, and our own workers. As a leader of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton said, Israel was created by Western imperialism and is maintained by Western firepower.
Unfortunately, as of right now, we're out of time for gallery. Senator Bone?
Motion to give the speaker 5 more minutes?
Is there any dissent to this motion?
Dissent.
Hearing dissent, we'll go ahead and vote on this via voice vote. All of those in favor of extending the speaker's time, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions?
Sustained.
May I continue?
I believe the ayes have it, and you can continue.
It is at these career fairs, it is from these genocide profiteers that the next generation of workers are placed into the cogs of the U.S. imperial empire to manufacture or aid in the creation of the same technologies that will be the demise of those said workers and other people across the globe. So I ask again, as I look into this crowd of 20-year-olds here, why are 20-year-olds being murdered in Palestine while 20-year-olds here in the U.S. attend career fairs that seal their death? We must demand as people with basic morals that these corporations are not allowed on CSU campus and their presence is condemned. To leave off with another quote from Huey P. Newton, the revolution has always been in the hands of the young. The young will inherit the revolution, and we need to start acting like it. Happy Black History Month, fuck ICE, and free Palestine.
Hello. Good evening, folks. My name is Kamal. I'm a second-year economics PhD student here at CSU. I'm also an advisor for Students for Justice in Palestine, and I'm here also to protest against the career fair that is happening next Thursday, February 26th, 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And so we, as people who have access to the news, as people who have access to the media, we have witnessed 2 years of genocide carried out by Israel against Palestinians in Gaza. As of February 17th, 2026, at least 71,000 Palestinians in Gaza have been murdered since October 2023, which includes at least 20,000 children. This count is a vast underestimate, which does not count Palestinians missing, trapped under rubble, or deprived of food, water, or medical care. In addition, 92% of all homes and 70% of all infrastructure has been destroyed. And the genocide against Palestinians is still ongoing despite the so-called ceasefire. At least 600 Palestinians in Gaza have been murdered by the Israeli occupation force since October 2025, when the ceasefire was implemented. And virtually the entire population of Gaza is still subject to starvation, lack of medical care, and displacement. Now, we have to note that the occupation of historic Palestine and the ongoing genocide of Palestinians is made possible by corporations in the U.S. military-industrial complex who supply Israel with missiles, bombs, vehicles, drones, computers, artificial intelligence, and other technologies needed to carry out apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. And despite all of this, on February 26, 2026, CSU is inviting 3 corporations who have actively participated, not just complicit, actively participated in genocide of Palestinians to participate in a career fair. These corporations, already named by Sophia, being Caterpillar, Hewlett-Packard, and Woodward. CSU students and Fort Collins community members are saying it out loud, loud and clear. We need to get genocide profiteers and war profiteers off our campus. Caterpillar has sold bulldozers and other vehicles to Israel, as we've discussed, often through special foreign military sales, which have been used to displace Palestinians from their homes, demolish homes, and have even been used as weapons For instance, the nonviolent, peaceful U.S. pro-Palestine activist Rachel Corrie was in Rafah, Gaza, defending homes from demolition when she was run over by a bulldozer operated by the occupation forces. Hewlett-Packard has contracted both hardware and software to the Israeli occupation. Such services support the Israeli police, the prisons, the occupation forces, and overall just making apartheid, occupation, and genocide possible. And Woodward is, of course, as we have discussed for a long time now, it's an aerospace manufacturer headquartered in Fort Collins. And outrage aimed at Woodward is not new. Protesting against Woodward is not new. NOCO for Palestine, Jewish Voice for Peace, Students for Justice in Palestine a few years ago was protesting against Woodward because they are a part of the supply chain of weapons used by Israel, including fin control actuation systems for Boeing's JDAM kits and GBU-39 bombs. Bomb fragments used by Israel found in Rafah, Gaza, were produced by Woodward. And financial reports indicate that a significant portion of Woodward's revenue comes from munition sales. Now, these three companies have violated our CSU community values. They have no place on our campus and have no business recruiting CSU students. CSU cannot claim to nurture inclusive excellence while funneling students to work on the mass murder of brown people. CSU cannot claim to care about democracy and freedom when the companies it supports are eliminating the liberty and fundamental human rights of an entire population of 2 million people. CSU cannot claim to care about sustainability when the companies it invites to come to campus are senselessly bombing indigenous land and destroying the environment. We have a humanitarian, moral, and principled obligation to reject all companies' ties to CSU that participate in genocide. And so, a couple allying organizations, including Students for Justice in Palestine, we have written a petition, and you can read more here.
We were out of time, just really, really quickly. Senator Bone.
Motion to extend time for 1 minute?
One is fine, yeah.
Okay, 1 minute.
Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, you can continue. Sorry.
Sure. So, like I said, Students for Justice in Palestine, a few allying activists, student organizers, have written a petition, and so this petition is to demand that CSU eliminate all connections in terms of job advertisements, in terms of career fairs, in terms of programs, linking CSU and companies in the military-industrial complex who profit from genocide, from war. And so we implore you, please read our petition. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about it very soon when we publicize it further. But yeah, so all that just to say, it was Free Palestine back in 1948 when the Nakba displaced 750,000 Palestinians from their ancestral homelands. It was Free Palestine in 2023 when Israeli settler colonialism escalated into genocide, and it's still Free Palestine now when the ceasefire continues to be violated and our local community members, families, are still being under attack by weapons made by companies headquartered here in Fort Collins. So solidarity and all power to all those who resist. Thank you.
Good evening, my fellow Rams, within the gallery and amongst the Senate. My name is Mayla Lutchman, and I'm here representing Students for Justice in Palestine at Colorado State University as its secretary. Now, we've all talked about the career fair. I'm going to get into the specific crimes that the companies invited to this career fair have committed against the Palestinians. In the early years of the current wave of Israel's genocide against Palestine, around March 2024, a photo from Rafah was released depicting bomb fragments amongst the rubble of the Al-Mawasi tent massacre. If you were to zoom into this photo, you could see the serial number clearly, which reads 8187341014667J. That serial number leads right back to Woodward Inc., whose headquarters are in Fort Collins. That's right, the same company that is going to be inviting our students to work with them next week is the very same weapons manufacturer that designs and sends out bombs that have decimated entire cities into rubble and annihilated generations of Palestinian families. Even worse, Caterpillar, yet another one of the companies that are going to be trying to lap up our students, manufactured the IDF Caterpillar D9, the very same armored bulldozer that crushed American activist Rachel Corrie to death in 2003 as she was peacefully protesting against the demolition of a Palestinian home in Rafah. And Hewlett-Packard, as we mentioned before, has contracted both hardware and software to the Israeli occupation. This hardware and software has supported the Israeli police, the Israel Defense Forces, and the Israeli Population and Immigration Authority that continues to discriminate against Palestinians within their native land. How dare these companies try to recruit our students to build more weapons to continue to aid in the genocide of Palestine? And how dare our university allow those companies onto our campus when they operate against our values of democracy, inclusive excellence, and sustainability by funding a genocide that seeks to destroy Palestinian sovereignty and autonomy, that has violated a plethora of human rights violations such as the right to food, housing, and education, rights that we all take for granted, and leaves behind such incomprehensible ecological damage onto the landscape of the Levant. So I ask you, Senate, to not only condemn the invitation of Woodward Inc., Caterpillar, and Hewlett-Packard onto our enterprises, but to implore CSU to eliminate all connections to these companies, especially Woodward Inc. This means no more Woodward, no more Caterpillar, and no more Hewlett-Packard at our career fairs or other campus events. And especially no more internship programs with Woodward. We already have too much blood on our hands. For fuck's sake, let's not add more. Thank you, and free Palestine!
Hi, y'all. Just a couple of notes. One, our Senate bylaws do outline that profanity. Article 7 of the bylaw, Section 3, subsection B, subsection C outlines no profanity or slurs. Make sure that we're not using profanity. That also applies for gallery members. That's everyone in the funny room. Additionally, I would entertain a motion to suspend Article 7, Section A, subsection C, subsection A. This would just mean that we don't have to keep extending the time for every individual person. Senator Garland.
I motion to do that.
Cool. Do I hear a second? Second. Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and do that. Michael, you can come up.
Test. Good evening, Senators. I'm here today, and other CSU people in the audience. My name is Michael. I was the previous co-chair of CSU's Young Democratic Socialists of America, and I'm just a member today. I'm here today to talk about the Engineering Career Fair next Thursday and the corporations that we've invited to this fair. I am asking that ASCSU will move to condemn the invitation of specifically the inclusions of the companies directly tied to the military-industrial complex and the genocide of the Palestinians by the apartheid state of Israel. I argue that this institution has a moral obligation due to the principles of community we all know CSU holds so dear, specifically that of social justice. Hold on, there's two others? Whatever, there's five. But, you know, social justice specifically is one of the major ones in this specific, whatever. Primarily, I'd like to talk about Woodward Incorporated, the industrial and aerospace company that our university has an internship program with. One of Woodward's products is the missile controls and the fins used in the Boeing brand GBU-39 glide bomb. One of these missiles was utilized in the Tel al-Sultan attack on May 26, 2024, better known as the Rafah Tent Massacre. This attack killed 45 to 50 Palestinians, set a refugee camp on fire, and injured more than 200 people. On Boeing's promotional material for the 250-pound GBU-39, they note how it reduces collateral damage through its accuracy, size, and effective multi-purpose warhead. Now how, I'm sure you're all asking, could a precision munition kill so many people? Well, two major factors. First, the bomb was intentionally detonated in the air. It was an airburst strike to spread the radius of the shrapnel as wide as possible. This means direct and obvious detonation by the Israeli military to maximize the civilian death toll of this event. This is one of the more widely publicized instances of an event like this, but it's not the only one of its kind. The second major factor was the ignition of cooking oil kept by Palestinian refugees, which would light the camp ablaze and burn a number of people alive. This is one of the major reasons we actually saw this. It reached major press attention was because there were images and videos of people burning alive in their camps. The Israeli military denies these facts, but experts, including a Marine Corps Reserves colonel, state that this attack was both indiscriminate and disproportionate. Woodward makes critical parts of bombs utilized by the IDF to commit atrocities. We as a university have the moral responsibility to ensure that our talent is not also contributing to the overseas murder of tens of thousands of civilians. Where is the social justice? Where is the inclusion? Where is the respect in sending recent graduates directly into the jaws of the military-industrial complex? CSU can have an impact here. We should threaten to cut off all contact, financial contact with Woodward unless they stop producing these missile guiding systems for use in the arsenal of the IDF. And the first step we can take for that goal is ASCSU condemning these corporations' inclusion at our career fairs. Before I end, I would like to read a quick quote from one James Tallarico, who is a Democrat running for in the Democratic primary for the Senate in Texas. There's this theologian who said, "I screamed at God for the starving children until I realized that the starving children was God screaming at me. And God is screaming at all of us in Gaza as we speak." Thank you.
Hello. Just a second. Hello, my name is Ian. I also want to address the upcoming engineering career fair. Woodward, Caterpillar, and Hewlett-Packard are corporations that will be looking to offer jobs and internships to our students at this fair. Those three companies, as everybody who has spoken has already illustrated, financially benefit from the ongoing genocide being conducted by Israel in Palestine. The violence and suffering caused by these companies for the sole purpose of making profit is something that is not only horrendous, but it is the very worst of all of humanity. It is disgusting that CSU has decided that the patronage of genocidal corporations is more important than upholding basic morality. Our school attempts to tell its students that we stand for inclusion, integrity, respect, service, and social justice. Unless you have some kind of strange, fucked up notion that inclusion means including child-killing institutions, then I don't see how allowing these corporations to be prevalent on campus follows a single one of these principles this school proclaims. When students go to these career fairs, they do not know the atrocities that these companies get up to. They are only shown that they can get an entry-level position with a company that can prepare them to get into the career they actually want to do. Most students who get sucked into the industry do not realize their own complicity with genocide. CSU is enabling the continued reproduction of the military-industrial complex, which has destroyed many parts of this world. And they're allowing these companies to prey upon their students as a source of cheap labor. CSU could instead opt to seek out companies and institutions that are ethical in what they produce and how they produce it. There are many that will already be represented at this career fair, such as water treatment centers and sustainability engineering. The only reason to continue inviting Woodward, Caterpillar, and HP to our campus is because we treat our school more like a financial institution than a place for education and ethics. I urge ASCSU to move towards putting pressure on the CSU administration to get rid of these corporations off of our campus. Free Palestine.
just as an additional reminder, profanity is not allowed. For the next use of profanity, I unfortunately will have to pause you and be like, don't do that. So please refrain.
Point of clarification or information, is it possible to, okay, no.
The reason that we don't suggest to suspend that part of the bylaws is for the protection of students. It's making sure that profanity, slurs, etc. aren't utilized in this space. I would not entertain that motion.
Alrighty, I'm a little shorter than my colleagues, but hello everyone. My name is Ant. I am a co-chair for the Young Democratic Socialists of America here at CSU, and I'm also a member of the United Front for Freedom, otherwise known as TUF. I'm here, like many of my comrades, to speak against the presence of genocidal profiteers on our campus in the upcoming February 26th career fair. I'm also here to invite all of you and your friends to a student mass assembly that will take place this Tuesday from 12 to 2 p.m. in the plaza. At this mass assembly, there will be opportunities to learn about U.S. imperialism and CSU's role in carrying that out. This is an opportunity for senators to meet their constituents, understand their concerns, and elevate their voices. We don't exist as leaders without the students behind us. I invite those who hold an exceptional position of power and influence. They may be in this room and they may be on the Zoom to attend this mass assembly and learn how the students want you to use your power. Because let me be clear, the students do not want more billboards. The students do not want more robots. The students do not want more student fees. They do not want people who They want people who understand, not people who alienate. They want people who are in, not out of touch. Speaking on the upcoming career fair, I believe that this is a bloody stain on the image of our university. 3 companies recruiting at this engineering fair, HP, Woodward, and Caterpillar, are not only complicit in Israel's genocide of our Palestinian siblings, but they are direct enablers of it. If these companies were personified, this would be like inviting 3 serial killers to our career fair and allowing them to promote our students, our fellow students, to join them in their killing sprees. The problem is, these companies are not a singular person. They are entire businesses. They are sections of the economy. Many hands come together to enable this destruction. And I believe that many hands need to come together to tear it down. It is career fairs like this one that serve as a funnel for our students to become cogs in the wheel of the genocidal war machine. I ask us all to imagine if HP were selling computer systems, if Caterpillar was selling bulldozers, and Woodward was selling and engineering missiles to a country like Russia, to the people of Palestine, to Venezuela or Cuba. CSU would never let them recruit at our university again. As I close, I desperately implore my ASCSU representatives to support their student activists in our fight to end CSU's complicity in U.S. imperialism and genocide. Sign the petition that's going around the room and tell your friends about it. Stand with the student masses, as the ASCSU of the Vietnam War era stood with anti-war student movements on campus. This is your legacy. And this is your fight too. Student self-determination is what this Senate was built on. Free Palestine, up with TUF, and down with Caterpillar, Woodward, and HP genocidal profiteers coming to our university next Thursday. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Hi, I am Maya,
I'm one of the other co-chairs of YDSA. I have one question for you all. Does this make you uncomfortable? As I look at all of you, and I see offhand conversations, people rolling their eyes, people laughing, people looking at us weirdly, does this make you uncomfortable? I bet it does. Though you have the privilege, Though you have the privilege to scroll when this pops up on your social media, you can tune us out when we talk at Senate. This is some people's lives, and this is their reality. They cannot tune it out. This is what they wake up to every day in fear. So again, does this make you uncomfortable? I see I have your attention now. Hello, everyone. By hosting these groups of the career fairs that support genocide and ethnic cleansing, CSU is showing where they're willing to stand in the face of these current events. It is extremely disappointing where CSU is willing to support when these foundations of this institution lies in the students and the placement and ensuring that we are capable that they exist. They're making a statement without words that they stand with genocide. That is very disappointing. We pay to go here, we pay to live here, we pay for this to be what represents us. When your employer sees you went to CSU, this is who you stand with. Are you proud of that? Are you proud of the fact that we come up here standing, shaking in front of you, asking you to care, throwing numbers at you? Does that make you happy? That we have to beg some of you to look at us? That they have to beg all of you to not scroll past? That we have to beg some of you to sign this petition? Are you proud of that? I bet not. I ask that you stand with us and condemn this too. If this were your life, you would not want people standing in front of their student body begging, "Oh, can you just help us?" Really? I'm very disappointed in everyone here. Again, you have the power and the ability to tune us out. Do so if you must. You will not succeed.
Hello. I did not prepare a speech for tonight, as I did not think I had much that I would add. And seeing the speeches we've had, I think that I'm mostly right in that. There's nothing I could say here that has not been said by the people who came before me, and said in such terms that were as beautiful as they were harmful to my own heart. The only reason I decided to speak is because I've been sitting behind in gallery since I started at this school. I've been watching this Senate. And when I joined, I had hopes for what this Senate could be, for what it could stand for, and for what it could represent for the students. And I have found none of those hopes fulfilled in this body. You have never once stood morally to support anything. You have never once put yourselves at risk for anything. Sometimes individuals will stand, but never as an organization. And I understand that there are limits to what you can do. And those limits, I will remind you, will put in place by you. Your institution is built by yourselves, and you can suspend any bylaw you want at any time. And if you decide to take a stand, you could finally be something other than bureaucrats. And you could represent something that the school needs and wants right now. And if you don't right now, then there might not be a chance to do so ever again. Because if we do not stand right now, there will not be Palestine in a year or 2 or 3. So I implore you to please make something of this body that the students here can be proud of. People don't care about ACSU because it doesn't matter. And you could change that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here today, like many of my friends, to talk about the career fair happening in the LSC a week from now. It is absolutely abhorrent that CSU would invite partners in genocide to career fairs on our campus. 3 of the companies coming, Woodward, Caterpillar, and Hewlett-Packard, have all played large parts in the continuing massacre in Gaza. Woodward bombs have been found in Rafah. Caterpillar bulldozers have flattened homes. that we would conflate the values of CSU with the values of these companies, that we would allow the name of CSU to be used to promote the systematic murder of an entire people is something I would hope not a single soul on this campus could stand behind. 72,164 people have been killed in Gaza. 260 were members of the press, 1,701 were medics, 12,500 of them were women, and 20,179 of them were children. If these numbers don't ignite something in you, I don't know what would. They call this a war to justify their involvement, to justify our involvement and our promotion of these things. But it's not. It's a genocide. Did the numbers I've just listed, the people that they represent, truly pose a threat to anyone? No. The only thing these people posed a threat to was American-backed imperialism. Woodward, Caterpillar, and HP are pillars of this imperialism. These war profiteers should not have a place on our campus, and any CSU student who wants to work for these companies, shame on you. Find something better to do with your life than massacre children. The reason I came to CSU was the day that I toured, which I think was in early 2024. There was a large protest on the LSC Plaza in support of Palestinian self-determination. And I thought that that protest represented CSU. I saw that, and as someone from Texas, I thought, how beautiful that on a college campus, there are all of these people that are allowed to take a stand for what they believe in and fight for anti-imperialism overseas. But as I've gone here, and as I've learned more about the politics of CSU, I've learned that that's not true. This past year, a protest like that would have been highly scrutinized under the free speech policies that were in place earlier this year. And I just wanted to say that instead of people who want to fight for something, we are showing that CSU stands with war profiteers and with genocide. Free Palestine.
Hello everyone. I also don't have a speech, but it won't be nearly as good as any of theirs, so there's good reason for that. I wasn't gonna come up here, but I was sitting back there, and my heart started racing. I started to get really sweaty, kind of hear it in my voice, started to feel a lot. And I know since I'm feeling something, I know at least half of you are feeling something. I'm hearing the claps, I'm seeing the snaps, I'm seeing heads nodding. I know you have to be feeling something. This engineering career fair with these companies, we can't keep letting this happen. If you aren't part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And we can't sit here and keep continuing to be part of the problem. I know a lot of engineers. I know there's some people in this room who may be engineers or also know engineers. If you know the engineers, you know these companies. You know what they do. You probably know what they pay. And that's the less important part. The more important part is what they do. So I want you to really, really think with your heart here. Sorry, I'm shaking, but we can't keep letting this happen. Please condemn these companies coming to our engineering fair. I know we can do better. Be part of the solution. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jack Townsend. I'm the president of the Young Democrats at CSU. I'm speaking here today as a member of the United Front for Freedom Coalition, or TUF. For almost a century, CSU has been on the right side of history, and even been a bastion of progress. During the Dust Bowls in the early 1930s, CSU led aid efforts to help feed Fort Collins and support farmers. During the 1930s and early 40s, when Hitler had a 75% approval rating in the US, CSU led debates on fascism and even hosted a speaker who talked openly about his opposition to Hitler and his rise to power. During this time, during this time, CSU had become the first land-grant institution to admit women. From 1969 to 1970, CSU was pressured by the Nixon administration to crack down on anti-administration protests and align themselves to be a direct, federally controlled school. CSU resisted this. And today, CSU prides itself on being sustainable and a progressive school. But it is not something that we say, it is something that we have to show. Next week, CSU will be on the wrong side of history because companies at the career fair that we will be hosting have been complicit in genocides across the world. From Bangladesh to Guatemala, Woodward has been found to support weapons that have committed these genocides, as well as bombing runs in Lebanon and Palestine. And one of these bombs in the Palestinian genocide has been produced right here in Fort Collins, which I know many of my fellow students have talked about earlier. So how can we claim to be the progressive university that we are while helping companies profit from genocide? We cannot. We must think back to our previous generations, and we must continue to be on the right side of history. Let us be the campus that says no. Let us be the campus that chooses humanity over profit. Let us be the community that proves that you can build a successful future without selling your soul, and let us show the world that Colorado State University still stands for something. Thank you, and I think, yeah, I don't have to yield, right? Yeah, I'm good. So, you have a good day.
Is there anyone else that'd like to speak in gallery input today? Seeing none, we'll move right into executive reports.
Since we don't have guest speakers.
Since we do not have a guest speaker.
Gio's mic is on.
Any exec reports out there? No? Okay.
I have one actually.
Gio will be making an exec report.
Ignoring the inner branch thing, I'm reading a report now from Jalisty Luna, our Director of Governmental Affairs. For our LSAP updates, reviewing the district energy conversion proposal at our meeting this week, along with HB 26-1012 and SB 26-078. Last week, reviewed responses from CSU Gov Affairs on Senate Bill 26-038 and met with Senator Kathy Kipp to review some concerns. We meet 6 to 7 on Thursdays in the conference room, working on getting all the info on the website to increase transparency and publicity. In the meantime, feel free to email and I'll send the materials over. DATC, March 31st, more info coming soon. Currently meeting with stakeholders. I do not know what DATC means. Democracy Summit is March 9th to 11th. 2 more days left to apply for the Democracy Prize. Seed grant application is due by 5 p.m. on February 20th. If you want to reach out or if you have any questions, my door/email is always open, and feel free to use me as a resource for anything. Thank you.
DATC is Day at the Capitol for anyone that's interested.
Seeing that we have no more executive reports, we're going to move right into judicial reports. Any judicial reports? Yes, go judicial. Isn't that bad?
Hi y'all, I'll be back in a moment because it is vote of confidence night, which is super exciting. But a couple things from the elections team. First thing, we are officially, as of tonight, 3 weeks out from the results announcement. So 3 weeks from today in this room, we will be announcing our next leaders, which is super exciting and means a lot of things are coming up really fast. The tabling sign up that I mentioned last week will be coming out via Teams shortly. But is currently up on a bulletin board outside of the office and also on the judicial door. So if you're interested in joining us to table, please do. I've also sent out the RSVP for the Seats at the Table event, which is March 3rd. It's a more intimate opportunity to get to know the candidates at a table with them. And that is an RSVP event. So that is in the Teams and also on the bulletin board out there. And I would love if you would RSVP for that. And then this year we are also doing a question box for the debate, which is March 5th. and that is also on the bulletin board out there and will be coming out via Teams shortly. But if there's issues that are key to you or things that you want to ask, that can kind of guide the facilitators as we're running that debate. We'll still have time for audience questions as always, but that's another thing I would love your help with. And then the list of candidates comes out at 5 o'clock on Friday. That will be all of the lists for President, Vice President, Speaker, and Senator. And that'll be on the ASCSU homepage as well as through the Collegian. So if you're curious about that, keep an eye out. And then as always, huge gratitude to everyone that is helping our team out. I know it's a lot of hands on deck, so I just want to commend you all for your help. So thank you.
Hello? Okay, perfect. Good evening, Madam Speaker, members of the Senate. For the record, my name is Rocio Villalobos, and I'm an Associate Justice for ASCSU Supreme Court. I will be giving this week's judicial report. We are currently planning the Rams Know Their Rights event, which will be taking some time at the end of April. More information to come out soon. Additionally, please review and provide feedback on policies under development posted on the Policy Office website. By participating, you aren't only helping with the policy revision, but also taking essential steps in crafting university policies that support our principles of community. This concludes the formal update. I now welcome any questions from Senate. Oh, great. Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Melanie. I serve as the Chief Justice for the Supreme Court here. Yes, like Rocio was saying, on the policy website, they are currently taking feedback for the building security and access policy. So that has been directly sent to ASCSU members to solicit student feedback. And so if you guys want to review that, add any feedback, anything you guys don't see, that is something that I can tell you that we pull down the feedback when it's done, and the committee who writes that reviews each single one before it gets posted. And so that is applicable to you guys. And then the second thing is that me, Victoria, and Reese have been working on a resolution called Supporting Open Educational Resources. This is a resolution that is going to call for ASCSU support. We are just a key piece to the puzzle. They have asked to just learn more about OER, be more transparent about it, and spread awareness. OER is free licensed materials, so anytime your professors switch over a course material to a free one, rather than having you guys pay for textbooks or day one, then they are probably participating in OER. And so this has been tracked and analyzed and actually supported by ASCSU for years and has saved over $3 million for students. And so I will be posting in the Teams on Monday or after this Friday when I meet with the committee. The resolution is drafted, but want to make sure that they approve of it. And so if you guys want to sponsor or endorse that bill, please message any one of us to read through that. I highly implore you, even if you not sponsor or endorse it, just to read through it. So, thank you. Awesome. With that, I'll now be moving to legislative reports, starting with officer reports, starting with me. Actually starting with a note from Elisa. Just so all of you know, Elisa's going to be handing out some flyers from CSU Tell Someone. It's a good resource to have as we get closer to a sort of overwhelming point of the semester. Rams to hear Rams. Moving into Brooke report stuff, again, that sign-in placard exists at the front, so if you're new, make sure to sign that and get contact info. Additionally, onboarding and check-ins are still making their rounds, so look out in your email boxes for an email from me to check in on how you're doing and making sure that you know all the foundational stuff. Additionally, for the vote of confidence that we're going to have in a little bit, just as a reminder, campaigning is not starting yet. It's still, for all intents and purposes, illegal. We're not campaigning. We just know who the candidates are because you're in this funny room and you're going to make an important vote. Last thing, don't be afraid to ask questions. This is in regards to the vote of confidence. This is in regards to when we're electing people to different positions. This is especially in regards to legislation, even more so especially into financial legislation. We only have a certain amount of money, and it's incredibly crucial that we're looking at the impact of the legislation we're passing when we're spending student fees on students. But other than that, that's all I have. Gia?
My apologies for the 6-7 joke. But nevertheless, on official business, I still have no collected responses for the parliamentarian suggestion box. My ego is reaching astronomical proportions. In any case, I'll post this again after tonight's sort of legislative thing that I post in general. And additionally, the legislative binder should be fully updated with our most concurrent legislation. And in conjunction with the front desk, thank you, Esteban. You did a whole heart. And also the website archive version. Thank you.
Hello all. If we haven't met, I do think I have met everyone in this room. But I am Farron, newly speaker pro diplo. But yes, I just have a few announcements to make. Sorry, I'm gonna be annoying. Sorry. But yeah, also sorry I keep going back and forth. I'm just trying to get the information of stuff they said and releasing the teams for our people online, just to like really get that transparency going. But yeah. If you have reached out to me in this week about anything and I haven't gone back to you, I'm so sorry. This week has been incredibly busy for me. I will be getting back to you by tonight or tomorrow. Right now, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about the legislation that I had sent out in the teams a couple weeks ago about the office hours reforms, because a couple people had questions. I just thought it'd be fine to address it as a group. It's really not big changes. So basically, the current office hour system that we have set up, senators serve 3 hours of engagement and associate senators serve 1 hour engagement. That for associate senators, you serve 3 hours in total. 1 hour is going to be in a committee, 1 hour is going to be with a director or college council meeting. It's the same with senators, it's just that 5 hours. So you have that 2 hours left, no, 3 hours left of engagement if you're a senator, and 1 hour left if you're associate senator. Currently, it's on an hour basis. Graduate students are exempt from these requirements. What am I changing? I'm scrapping the office hours because it communicates a different idea. I also want students to I want to emphasize, like, students should be, like students in here, representatives need to be directly reaching out to constituents. I don't want an office hour where you're literally just sitting in that office doing work, hoping that someone comes in to talk to you. Like, I'm sorry, like, office hours to me, like, they are not helpful. I think the only people that use office hours are other people in ACCU to go talk to other people in ACCU. Like, it's not actually engaging with constituents. I'm separating it into 2 sections: governance participation and engagements events. Governance participation is just going to be the new name for that committee hour and that college council or director meeting hour. Again, it's really only changing the name. Second one is going to be that engagement events. That's going to be that 3 hours or 1 hour that you have left to really be doing that engagement or outreach work that's required in your job description. I scrapped the hour requirement. I think it's really unfair to kind of like, because I think one of the engagement things that you could do is like have a one-on-one conversation. I don't want y'all trying to drag out this conversation to be an hour long. Like, it's not productive. And I think scrapping the hour requirement would also encourage people to go do more engagement events. I'm mandating that you complete either 3 or 1 engagement events, depending on if you're a senator or associate senator. I'm really not changing any of the engagement events. What those include, it could be attending club meetings, in which you're not an active member, one-on-one conversations with prospective ACCU members. This is all in your job descriptions. Quite frankly, you should know it, so I'm not going to read it all word for word. On the end of that, I realized that a lot of people are like, okay, but how do I really engage? Like, what are these events I can do? I did also add in counting like community service on campus because that wasn't in there, and I think, quite frankly, it should count. I'm going to be taking on a weekly newsletter of engagement events, so that's going to be basically, I'll release it around like every Monday. It's going to be a list of all CRC events that you can go to, and then all college events. That is in process. Also, I'm mandating that if you are representing a certain constituency, you have to spend at least one of those engagement events within your own constituency. I think that's reasonable. I'm also creating a new office hours form. Right now, the office hour form isn't being used right now, like the old one. If y'all are worried about committee attendance or stuff, email me again. It's that easy. I'm email, text away, hey, y'all. If you don't have my number, you can come get my number. It's also in my email signature. I really don't care if y'all text me. I usually answer faster. But I actually do want to yield to anyone that has questions or suggestions. Like, I'm writing this legislation. I'm no longer a senator or associate senator. I think it's crazy to really impose stuff on you without asking for your feedback. So I'm opening it up for questions now or suggestions. I'm really open to changes. If you want something added into this, I will add it in. So yes, you
Brief point of clarification in terms of the office hours form that was previously being utilized. I promise someone reads them. I read them. And it informs the examples that I give to other onboarded senators of what office hours can look like. Please don't feel like it's pointless at all. Shout out.
So, any questions, suggestions, because I know a lot of the stuff that people ran on when they were running for Speaker Pro Tempore was those reforms to the strike policy or the office hours. So if y'all have something you want to add, if you think this is a crazy ask, let me know right now. Or you can email me, text me on Teams, text me on iMessage. I don't have social media, so don't text me on there. But yeah, I'm yielding to anyone, so if anyone has anything. Yes, I'm yielding to Jerry.
I think this is a great idea. Thank you, Farron.
Thank you. Okay, oh, Victoria, I see yours.
Could you put this in the Senate group chat, kind of like the requirements, so we can visually see what it's going to be, if that makes sense?
Like the legislation, or you want me to put?
The legislation.
Legislation already sent out. I will send it out again though. Don't worry. Right now, I'm gonna do it right now.
So thank you.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Also, I want to say I am editing it to make sure it's going to be the old requirements right next to new ones with that crossed out. Amazing piece of critique that Jerry gave.
Also, since this is a fairly substantial change to the bylaws, could you perhaps write a too long didn't read to add to your post as well?
So,
Like summarizing the legislation.
Oh, like a summary? I bet. Yes, I can. But yeah, anyone else?
I just have a concern, that's why I made Gio stand up. In terms of the implications of office hours is a term utilized throughout the different job descriptions for the different positions within the Senate. So I'd be careful in terms of the changes of verbiage if it's also not reflected in the other job descriptions, just so that we have that consistency between the two. Like for example, shout out a specific officer I had a conversation with earlier this week. There's 8 required hours or something for the recruitment and retention officer, but the senator hours typically would feed into that amount. So it's just making sure that there's consistency between all of the job descriptions, and if there needs to be another subcategory for those officer positions, making sure that there's another.
For sure.
So,
I mean, wait, is this a question or statement?
I was just concerned, and I also wanted the Senate to know my concerns, so then Gio stands.
I did look through the bylaws for that exact reason. I wanted to make sure that the changes to the associate senator and the senator job descriptions wouldn't impact other job descriptions such as officers. I'm not changing the office hours. The only thing that's going to be changed is really the names specifically only for associate senators and senators. I will go ahead and double check that, and we can clarify that more if you want.
100.
Anyone else? Hey, even people in gallery. Anyone else? Y'all got questions or anything? I'm here to answer them. Anyone? Any suggestions? Go on. Okay, nothing? Cool. If you do have one, y'all know where to reach me. And y'all have a blessed day with no religious connotation. Thank you.
Hello everyone. If we haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'm Diana Diggs. I'm your Public Relations Officer for the Senate. And just going to give a brief report. A new Senate recap was posted today. So if you're in Senate, also if you're in Senate and you're not following the Senate Instagram, I would get on that because you can see the fruits of our labor posted there. It's just ascsu.senate, I believe. But getting into my report, Me and our lovely speaker pro tempore Farron had a really good meeting this morning with the Committee for Social Justice, or CSJ, through the School of Social Work. And we specifically wanted to target that area because the College of Health and Human Sciences, I would say, is a kind of underserved, underfilled constituency, and people interested in social work, policy work. That seems like a perfect crossover to ASCSU. Some things that we talked about were elections information. We were kind of a liaison to give that because they had expressed concerns that like people in their college didn't know that voting was even a thing. They didn't know that you vote in RAMWeb, all of that. So we communicated that information, and we shared with them our presentation, our upcoming classroom presentation. Me and Farron have been working on a new classroom presentations that's a bit different than what we've traditionally used in the past. We tried to make it a little bit more fun and interactive, that would be gearing towards freshman and sophomore classes to really emphasize that early involvement with ASCSU. And just, even if students don't get involved, we want them to have the information and know every avenue that is open to them. Yeah, that meeting was a great success. Yeah, I think that's all I have. Thank you all for being here.
Awesome. With that, we'll now be moving into committee and caucus reports. Wait, please. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Officer Eddington.
I'm sorry, everybody. That is not how we're supposed to do that. Hi, everyone. It's my first officer report. I've reached out to all of your college council presidents. Some of them I found out maybe I have outdated information on who they are. But I would love if you would all help me serve as a point of contact. I'm trying to go to your college council meetings to spread the good word about Senate and talk to them about like how we can improve recruitment and retention for all the different college councils. And I kind of need your help to help connect me to your college councils. So please reach out to your college councils and tell them that I am in their inboxes, ever waiting. And that's my whole report.
Additionally, if you could send Officer Eddington your college council time, Officer Eddington can also just show up to your college council. And you should all know your college council times because you should all be going to your college councils. But with that, we'll now actually be moving into committee and caucus reports, and I'll actually stand up by first race placard. Chair McLaughlin.
Sorry, I dropped my placard. The Budgetary Affairs Committee did not meet last week, and we will also not meet tomorrow because we have no fiscal legislation, and I'm continuing to table the legislative referenda bill until I get more information on it. Also, since this is a question I've been asked in the past, ASCSU through a bill cannot pay the salary of any student employee that is not an employee of ASCSU. So if you're writing a bill to pay the salary of a non-ASCSU employee, don't do that. I will kill it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair McLaughlin. Chair Leary.
Hi everyone. So Accessibility Caucus met today. We decided that our meeting time would be 4 to 5 p.m. on Wednesdays before Executive Cabinet. I do realize now that it might be overlapping with some college councils. I apologize. That kind of seemed like the only time that we could meet together on the one to meet. But I encourage you to add our channel from the hidden channels and just like right click to show, and then you'll see it, and then maybe consider turning on notifications, maybe. And then we are working on getting a physical accessibility fund at CSU, and then I'm going to invite guests from facilities, and then maybe Brandon Hanlon will come talk to us, maybe. The Vice President of University Operations. Love. And then we worked a little bit on editing the bylaws, and then we mostly updating the bylaws to reflect changes in the Constitution procedures, like no longer using a Gmail, we're using Outlook, stuff like that. And then, yeah, we're just gonna work on some tabling and outreach. Yeah, that'll be great. Thank you.
I'm seeing you yielded. Senator Bowman.
I am giving a report on behalf of Enoch. I am the students of the Oval Caucus, if you're not aware of what caucus he chairs. I just wanted to report that I got elected as vice chair. Woo! We have a potential secretary, and there may be a new when to meet sent out because we would really like to get more people in to that caucus. So if that does end up getting sent out, please fill it out. And otherwise, we currently meet Mondays 10 to 11. So if you can make it, please do. We would love to have you there. Okay, that's all. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Chair Francis Gilroy.
Hi everybody, my name's Sarah. I'm the chair for internal affairs. We met on Tuesday from 2 to 3 and we will do that next week and the following weeks as well. Bill 5529 is still being held in internal and until we get a little more clarification on some areas in that bill. And turnout was great. Let's keep it rolling next week, guys, please. Okay, yo.
Thank you. Chair Casada.
Hello everyone, I hope you have had a good day. I wanted to recognize that Ramadan started yesterday and then it was Ash Wednesday today. We are gonna have committee on Friday 5 to 6, so if you wanna come, be there. Also, if it's really late and you're just like, I won't be coming, I will think about moving it. And we just didn't have the conference room booked. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing well and having a good night and happy Black History Month. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Mendoza.
Hey everybody, my name is Cass. I'm the vice chair for University Affairs. Yoselin and I are working on trying to get everybody familiar with the process of getting bills passed down in the Colorado State Capitol and how to testify. So if you guys are interested in learning about that process or how that works, come by to our committee. It is Mondays from 12 to 1. We'd love to see you all there. Turnout this week was pretty nice. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Chair Casada Stoner, Part 2.
I promise I will be done after this. If you guys do want to support the Open Educational Resource resolution that me, Melanie, and Reese are going to be putting on the floor, please let me know, or also she's going to drop it in the chat. So go ahead, read it. If you guys have any questions at all, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer anything. And yeah, I yield.
Awesome. Seeing there's no other chairs currently in attendance, we'll now be moving into Senator and Associate Senator reports by first raised placard. That was the slowest I've ever seen you guys do it. Chair Leary.
Hi everyone. So a couple weeks ago we got CJ and now we have Ava, so we just wanted to introduce her. Do you want to talk? You.
Hi everybody, my name's Ava. It's lovely to meet you guys. I've been in a couple of galleries for the past couple weeks and I just love what everybody does. I'm super excited to meet everybody. It seems like everyone does some fantastic work here and, you know, just super excited to get involved. So never be afraid to come say hi. I'll probably be coming saying hi to a bunch of you guys because I just love meeting everybody and I want to see what we can do together as a team. So yeah, everybody have a great night. Be here for a couple more hours.
Thank you. Chair McLaughlin.
First off, Happy Lunar New Year to all who celebrate. Also, if anyone would like to discuss, work on, or just talk in general about a resolution addressing the issues raised in gallery input, I'd be happy to be involved with that, help co-write it, any of that thing. So reach out to me. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Mendoza.
It's me again. I'm the Native American Cultural Center Senator. The NAC is partnering with the College of Ag Sciences. We're extending and offering free tutoring for anybody who needs it. It's called Eagle Feather Tutoring. It's going to be in the Nutrient Building in room 145. It's free. We offer, we offer some good classes like chemistry, algebra, all the STEM classes. So if you know anybody who needs help with that, come stop by. And then I'm also working with administration to get native, I guess, ingredients, foods, snacks into the Rounds Against Hunger food pantry. So if you know anybody who has, you know, any ideas to get more food, let me know, send them my way. I'm open to suggestions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Johnson.
Hey y'all, I'm the College of Health and Human Senators, the @1, so hit my line if you want to chat about doing better for College of Health and Human Sciences, because I'm going to be gone and then there's going to be no one. So please yap with me. I am currently working with our college council to find people too, so connect with me so that our college council does not disappear from ASCSU. Not that that's not going to happen, but maybe sometimes people forget to talk to their college councils, and so that shouldn't happen. So talk to me. Long story short, talk to me as College of Health and Human Sciences, and even if you aren't College of Health and Human Sciences, I'm nice, talk to me. All right, I yield.
Thank you. Officer Diggs.
Hi, reporting as a senator for Beck. As you guys know, it's Black History Month, and we have some really cool events. I want to highlight the fashion show that we'll be having next Friday, Friday, February 27th at 4:30 p.m. It's going to be in the LSC ballrooms. It's always an amazing event, so if you guys can show up, that would be amazing. And then there is also a graduate student and faculty staff event at Ramskeller, Tending the Roots. That's going to be the 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. And you can find these events on Ramlink and also through the back website newsletter. Oh, and on the 26th, we're going to be having S'mores and Stories on the LSC West Patio. We're going to have a campfire, s'mores. It's going to be great. Any events that you can come out for, all are welcome, and we'd appreciate you all. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to give a report at this time? Chair Leary.
Sorry, I just forgot. Rams Against Hunger is having a mobile food pantry before Senate, I believe next Wednesday, 3 to 5 p.m. in the theater. Sorry, I forgot, but please spread that so that people can get stuff. Make sure they bring bags and then a brand card. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move into conference business, starting with the swearing in of the Deputy Director of Environmental Affairs. So if Squad wants to come up. I state your name.
I, Jackie McVeigh,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
and will rightfully perform the duties of my office to the best of my ability. Awesome. With that, we'll now be moving into the election of the Housing Caucus Chair. Do I hear any nominations for this position? Senator Grenier?
I'd like to nominate myself.
Awesome. Do you accept your own nomination? Phenomenal. Are there any other nominations for this position? Seeing none, Senator Grenier, if you want to join us at the front. Just for all of our new people, what essentially is going to happen is Senator Grenier will have 10 minutes to present why he wants to be the Housing Caucus Chair, and then there will be a 10-minute period of Q&A where we'll just ask questions to him, and then a 10-minute period of discussion debate followed by voting. But you're good to start whenever.
All right, so I initially came to this organization last year in October after a period of time in a different collegiate governance organization. In that organization, I served on their version of a housing caucus. I was directly involved in the multi-level stakeholder engagement that's required to ensure that students are properly represented and their ideas are heard and concerns are heard to facilities and dining services at that university. I have continued that here. I have worked bilaterally with RHA, for anyone who doesn't know, that is the Residential Housing Association. And that's a group that I would like to continue to bring into our space. As many of you probably know, I am a business major, and a big part of my collegiate experience has been engaging with stakeholders, with people that may be not as interested in hearing what you have to say, in people who may not want to entertain other people's decisions, who may think that it's their way or the highway. Continuously, I brought those people to the table in those situations and assisted in facilitating open and honest discussions about why they're doing what they're doing, why they have done that, and why they've elected to stop taking other people's decisions into mind. When I first read the, Bill 5315, which is the one that established this caucus, I heard a lot of what I had been taught to do in my major. I heard a lot about strategic stakeholder engagement, deep level stakeholder engagement, multi-level stakeholder engagement, in bringing people to a table where we can constructively and openly represent the needs and ideas of the students towards facilities and dining services, towards the university as a whole, and towards the master construction plan for our university. I've already started planning out what I would do in this position. First and foremost, I spent way too much time in Brooke's office looking at former senates, and there were a lot of ideas in there from all the way back to the 50th that I thought were great ideas that we should look at bringing back. One of them was what they called the Good Neighbor Program. What that was it was basically an outreach program to off-campus groups and corporations that manage properties, that lease to people, the homeowners associations in places like Poet and East Side, and actively engaging with them to understand how we can assist students in moving into those areas and not having them priced out. Now, in the bill that founded the Housing Caucus, it was stated that at the time, the median rent in Fort Collins was about $1,600 per month. It has since increased to almost $2,000 per month. That's not sustainable for our students. I have before worked with other groups outside of this purview on finding ways to reduce that rent, to move those kind of property management corporations toward a more constructive and more equitable form of rent gain, where their desires are not completely removed, but also the students are still not priced out of living near campus. I know I myself have been priced out of living near campus at this point. One of the big things I've noticed consistently in our space is that in our university as a whole is that we all suffer from an information silo. We understand what goes on here. We understand largely what goes on outside of here, but we don't understand all of it. And especially when it comes to housing, there are many groups that are heavily siloed, that are doing things that should be brought to the table. These are groups that I've already been talking to. The groups that I already have made connections in. The groups that I'm building inroads for us to collaboratively and equitably build trust between us, them, and the university. One of the biggest groups that is this way is RHA, again. They are an inter-university, in fact, a national organization that has data that we need. They have data on what Boulder's doing, on what University of Northern Colorado, on what WYO, on what Berkeley is doing to address the exponential increase in student housing costs. When I came to CSU 4 years ago, I paid roughly $3,000 all in for my housing. You can't do that anymore. A semester costs more now. That's not sustainable for students. It's never going to be, and it's something that I want to fix. Because what makes our university so great is the student body. It's the diversity of people that we get in classrooms, in clubs, in this organization. And the exponential and constant increase that we have seen at this university has made that increasingly and increasingly less tenable as an ideal. Thank you.
That's my job. With that, we'll now be moving to a period of Q&A by first choice placard, Chair McLaughlin.
Thank you. Well said. I actually made several of those points 2 weeks ago to the state legislature, so I'm glad we're on the same page. Do you have any specific actionable plans beyond what you just discussed for the Housing Caucus this semester?
Yes. First and foremost, I want to have a sit down with Michael Buttram about their what we funded last semester that you brought, which was the emergency housing program. See how that's worked out for them and how we can create larger inroads. Beyond that, I do have a plan to do a large scale stakeholder engagement drive that would include posters in residence halls, actively approaching RHA, actively approaching residence advisors, to understand what the students in our halls need and what their concerns are, what they want to have fixed as.
Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Singleton.
Hello. I think Jared touched on one of my questions, but then I think another question is how are you planning on, how much of a time commitment will this be for you with your major and all of your other things that you have going on?
It's not an issue for me. I am in the last semester of my degree. I really have 4 classes left, so I take 4 classes a week. So I have a lot of time to dedicate to this.
Awesome. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Bushkow.
Hi. I have a couple questions. What individuals or organizations do you both on and off campus do you have current connections with, or connections you hope to make throughout the caucus?
So one I mentioned was RHA. Another one was is FOCO Rescue Mission. That is the emergency housing program Fort Collins has here. I have connections within facilities dining services already. I've worked with members who are in that on other projects, including for my major. And then also have inroads at administration to get our needs tabled there and to have an ear there.
Thank you. How do you plan on balancing housing with other basic needs and interactions, and how they influence each other?
Mainly for me, it would be direct involvement with our Department of Basic Needs, as well as Rams Against Hunger. And to me, a pivotal part of housing is other securities. You know, a house is only a shelter if you don't have everything else. So I believe they're pivotal to that, and you can't really have a full conversation on housing at CSU without having a conversation about the other needs of the students.
Thank you. Last question. How would you state your knowledge of the city codes, policies, and other aspects that affect student housing?
I would say it's all right. There's still a lot I do need to learn in that aspect, especially since Fort Collins is currently reviewing their districting policy. But I do, as I've said, I have worked with groups outside of it, so I do have a pretty reasonable understanding of what the current policies for Fort Collins is, including the fact that we do not have any kind of rent control.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I yield.
Phenomenal. Are there any other questions for our candidate? Seeing none, if you can go ahead and take a step outside. We'll now be starting a period of discussion debate by first choice placard. Chair McLaughlin.
I think Matthew will do a great job at this position. He's very knowledgeable and very good at this type of stuff based on my work with him previously. I don't really think there's an argument against him taking this position, so I'll move to previous question.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move into a period of voting. Initially, it'd be by secret ballot. Senator Garnett.
I would motion to approve the candidate with unanimous consent.
Is there any dissent to this means of voting? Is there any dissent to the ratification of this candidate? Hearing none, Chair Grenier. We're going to clap so soon.
I state your name.
I, Matthew Greener,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and
the rules
regulations
and regulations
set forth by the
set
Constitution
forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State
of the
University
Associate Students of Colorado State University
and will rightfully
and
perform
will rightfully perform
the duties of my
the
office
duties of my office
to the best of my
to the
ability.
best of my ability.
Congrats, Matt.
Awesome, congratulations. With that, we'll now be moving into the Speaker of the Senate vote of confidence. This isn't something we do very often, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a rundown of what we're gonna be doing. The purpose of this is to establish that the Senate has confidence in our different candidates to run. It's not that you're voting for this person to be in the position, you're just confident that they would be able to be in the position. It works pretty similarly to like any other ratification or election process, with the exception of during the voting process, we'll be utilizing secret ballot. It'll be either a yes vote of confidence or a no vote of confidence, or so yes confidence, no confidence, or you can abstain. Clear? Awesome.
Point of information.
Yes.
We're doing a vote of confidence for each of them individually.
Yes, so it would go through, I guess that is slightly different. We would go through each candidate, Q&A, discussion, debate, voting, and then recycle.
All right, with that, it is my honor to introduce our two candidates for speaker this year. If you can join me at the front, firstly, Gavin Lesurf, and secondly, Raya Roberts. How are they choosing to go first?
Do either of you particularly want to go first?
Prefer not to, but your call. You don't want
The
to
tradition, Loki, is rock, paper, scissors, from what I've heard.
Okay, let's do it. No, just one. Just one.
That's a one.
Got it? Okay.
Awesome, and I also forgot to touch on this, the kind of questions that you're talking about in the discussion debate is meant to particularly, or at least foremost pertain to their relevant competencies and knowledgeability of ASCSU and their processes. Awesome, but with that, Gavin, you have 10 minutes to present.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gavin Lesurf. I currently serve as y'all's accountant. I'm sure that most of you didn't know that you had an accountant. I serve in Slice pretty much, essentially. I help the executive pay invoices that they need, reimburse people. Every once in a while, Senate will also submit something. I do believe that I got an invoice. I think it was for the Trans Day of Remembrance. Yeah, that's right, Farron. So I'm just throwing out stuff that I do. I got some time. I also serve as the financial officer for Kappa Alpha Pi, a new pre-law fraternity that just established ourselves this semester, actually. So, Rush Cappy. Yeah. So, I have read over the constitutional needs that the Speaker of the Senate does do. I do know that I am supposed to run Senate, supposed to make sure that everyone's nice and, you know, all that during Senate. What else should I really present about?
You don't have to do the whole time.
Oh, I don't have to do the whole time? Oh my God, that's amazing. Should I present for anything else? I'm kind of confused. Do you guys ask me
Fun part of the next section, they're going to ask you questions and you can present on this.
Oh, that's where it came in. Oh, thank God.
True. 1 second. Cool. With that, we'll now be entering a period of Q&A by first raised placard. Senator Eddington, or Officer Eddington.
Thank you. Hi, Gavin. Very charming speech. How confident are you with your knowledge of the parliamentary procedures?
I know of Robert's rules. I have been studying them for a little. I won't claim to know that I am, you know, as good as Gio right here, but, you know, I do look forward to getting there. Hopefully I can be the, hopefully I can be the next Gio with my knowledge.
Thank you. As Speaker, you'll also be the leader of the Legislative Cabinet. What experience do you have leading a large and diverse team of people like this?
So I do participate a lot in my Kappa Alpha Pi's executive team as finance officer. The finances for Kappa Alpha Pi aren't good. We're pretty much broke. So a lot of them have turned to me in deciding, how do we get money, Gavin? How do we make sure that we can have panels of attorneys come to CSU and present to our group? And I have figured out quite a few options for that.
Okay, and my last question, you mentioned that part of your job is to make sure we're all nice to each other. How do you plan to handle conflict in the Senate when it arises?
Well, I'll just do two scenarios. Let's say there's public fighting in the Senate. I highly doubt this will ever happen, but in case it does, whoever's arguing should probably take a breath for however long they need to, be separated from each other. If there's other types of conflict, I would probably have a private meeting with each of them and then maybe pit them together and have a meeting with me as the mediator there.
Thank you, I yield.
Thank you, Officer. Senator Singleton.
All right. How confident are you in your ability to be able to stay impartial during your time in this position?
I'm glad you asked. For the past year and a half, I've had to be, accounting. I technically do not choose sides. I don't choose sides. I pay whatever comes to me, whether I like it or not. I'm not allowed to be like, I don't really like that, so I'm not gonna do that. Whenever there's something that needs to be paid, I pay it without questioning it, and it gets paid, and everything runs smoothly.
Cool. All right. How well do you know the ASCSU Constitution?
I have read my part as the accountant. I've been looking at senates and all the other necessary parts of it that I believe are necessary to the speaker job.
Cool. All right, I yield.
Thank you, Senator. Chair Leary.
Hi, Gavin. So I have a question for you, and then I have 9 questions from Senator Taylor.
9?
Yes.
Point of clarification, that should have been expected from Senator Taylor. That makes perfect sense.
I don't know when he turned off, I'm sorry. Okay, so part of the job of the Speaker of the Senate is writing the Senate bylaws. Do you have plans for what you want to change? Yeah.
For now, I don't have any plans yet, but over the summer and after my Washington Center application goes through, I will immediately start taking a look at those, as I'll have a lot of free time on my hands, thank God.
And then will you be able to complete this in a timely manner?
I will absolutely complete it in a timely manner.
Perfect. So now for Hayden's questions. If a document is not sent out 48 hours in advance, what should be done?
It should be read in full out loud to the Senate.
What happens if somebody calls for quorum?
Isn't that like pretty much, forgive me, I know that quorum is when someone is out of line, right? No? That's right.
If there are any questions you don't know and you want to defer, you can also defer for
I will defer to Gio.
I'm being deferred to. Decorum, I think, is what you're thinking of in terms of being timeliness. Quorum is the minimum number of members in a chamber to extract business. So essentially, when someone calls from quorum, we would have to read off the roll in order to make sure we have enough members present to actually do things.
The process of quorum is that we make sure that 2/3 of the body is currently in attendance. If quorum is called for, not said, called for by a voting member of the Senate, we then count it up. If we have 2/3, we can keep on going. If we don't have 2/3, then we're in a provisional session, meaning nothing that we're currently doing is like official until we approve the agenda next week.
Then in that case, if there is not enough people to continue with Senate, then we cannot pass anything, and if there's stuff in, I believe, new business, can that be read or not?
As I just said, we would be entering a provisional session, meaning we would go through the rest of the agenda if the Senate were to elect to do so, and then everything that would happen isn't binding until the next week when we pass the minutes.
Oh. This looked kind of good in my head, but I guess not.
Okay, sorry, just a reminder, this is from Hayden. Thank you, Brooke, sorry. Okay, what is the maximum time allowed for discussion and debate?
I believe that's 10 minutes, but it can be motioned to be extended.
What is the difference between a primary and a secondary motion?
Isn't a primary like I motion to, pass the bill for debate, and then a secondary is to extend that or debate?
Yeah, this ain't going well.
If you can't answer the question, feel free to say that you don't know and you'd love to learn more about it.
I will continue to do that. Yeah, I'd love to learn more.
Okay, how much time is the speaker allotted for discussion? Did I already ask that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep track. How many times is a person allowed to yield to another person during discussion and debate or Q&A?
I believe that is, you're believed to, or allowed to yield to one person.
If anyone has any questions about any of these questions and their answers, feel free to confer with me after Senate if they're confusing. But for the point of efficiency, don't worry about accuracy.
Okay, sorry that I don't have good answers. I'm not running for speaker. But what is the maximum time for gallery input?
That's 10 minutes, but it can be extended.
What is the maximum time for a guest speaker?
Would that be, I believe, 30 minutes, but it can be extended?
And then what are the 6 types of voting in the Senate?
I'd love to learn more about that.
I yield.
Thank you, Chair Mary. Senator Vega.
Hello. Have you ever served in the Senate before?
Yes, sir. I was a senator my first year before I became accountant.
Gotcha. Thank you. Do you believe that because you don't currently serve as a senator or an associate, that, now this is going to be a weird question, but I think it's relevant, that respect would be an issue if, since you're not in the Senate, respect in the fact that people don't know you, people have, we have new senators that have never seen you before until probably today. Can you answer a little more about that?
Yeah, so let me just restate the question so that we're both on the same page here. You're wondering how I'm going to get the respect of those people?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'm usually a pretty nice guy. I know Matthew Grenier over there. I was one of the first people that introduced him to the Senate, even though I was accountant. And we've been friends for like a year and a half now, right? But yeah, I mean, I know some people in here. I do look forward to meeting others. I consider myself to be a very social and talkative person.
Okay, with that, we're now out of time for Q&A. Senator Singleton.
I motion to add 5 more minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we'll add 5 more minutes to Q&A.
Oh, 1 second.
One second, I think my laptop just died. Whoopsies. Okay. Part of this job is making relationships with those in the Senate as well as officials, administrators, things like that. And you're the backbone of the Senate. The Senate runs because of you. The 55th Senate runs because of Brooke. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you work with relationship building and being the backbone of the 56th Senate?
So going back to your other question, I believe that talking to people and, you know, being a respectable person can help build those relationships and as well as foster. I deal with companies all the time that we, you know, requisition stuff from. We got to pay them, right? And, you know, you come to find out that the best way to foster and create those relationships is a nice, respectable email that gets straight to the point and wishes you a very nice day.
Okay, I have one final question, I'll be quick. This is not a gotcha question. I am genuinely curious. May I please ask why you do not have a prepared script or speech for today?
I was looking a tad bit on the bylaws and Robert's rules when I was over there, and I thought that looked good enough, but that was not good enough. That was very not good. Not good.
Thank you, I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator. Chair McLaughlin.
How do you plan to enforce the rules and especially time limits in the Senate when conflicts arise with them?
I would let whoever's speaking finish their sentence and then say, you know, do we have, if they're still talking and it doesn't seem like they're going to end, you know, do we have someone that would like to motion for more time?
How do you plan to manage your role not just as leader of the Senate, but leader of the legislative branch in discussions with university administration, other branch leaders, and things of that nature?
Again, I believe that being a respectable person, sending out those emails that I keep referencing, and just being an all-around chill guy really helps build those relationships and continues those relationships. So that's what I would do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair McLaughlin. Officer Diggs.
Hi, Gavin. I just have one question. Did you consult at all with either our current speaker, Brooke, or the speaker of the 54th Senate, Hayden, in preparation for this campaign?
No, I did not. Reason being, I believed that it would have created something with the elections. I was under the impression that no one was really supposed to know until today.
Thank you, I yield.
Thank you, Officer. Senator Rodriguez.
Hi, I don't really know how to ask this question. I'm also new in my role, so I understand there's like, you know, stepping into a new role, you might not really understand or like know your specific duties or responsibilities, but I guess my question is like, if you plan on serving this role, what is your plan to learn about your role and how to actually execute your role and your duties?
Excellent question. I take this role, if I were to get it, as classwork in learning my roles. I have not gotten anything below a B through my whole college career, and I take pride in that. And along with this, or my classwork, I take this, my extracurriculars, also as classwork. So when I say I take this as classwork, it will and is going to get done. Thank you.
Thank you, I yield.
Thank you. Associate Senator Pearson.
Hi, Gavin. Nice to meet you. What do you believe are the traits that inherently qualify you for this position over your fellow candidate?
All I know is that my fellow candidate has been in Senate. I don't really know too much about him, unfortunately.
Additionally, just as a point of clarification, the purpose of the vote of confidence isn't this candidate versus this candidate, it's just, can this candidate run?
Can I clarify something really quick too? I just meant mostly, can you please describe the traits that you believe are inherently beneficial to your position in this role for you specific? I should have reworded that question, I apologize.
We're also out of time.
Never mind, I yield in that case. Thank you guys.
Shut up. Okay, with that, if no one else on the speakers list, we'll go ahead and move into a period of discussion debate. Gavin, if you want to take a step outside. Officer Eddington, can I have you be my parliamentarian?
Well, I had stuff to say.
Oh, does anyone not have something they want to say that once? Chair Casada Stoner, #1 parliamentarian after Gio. Oh, Gio.
Oh my gosh, I've never done this.
I got you. I'm
honored.
If we do secret ballot, it's the first on this side, second on that side, third on that side, and then kind of goes down like that.
Phenomenal. With that, we'll now be entering a period of discussion debate by first raised placard.
Well, you can go.
No,
You can
I
go.
want to go.
I'll go.
Okay, Officer Eddington.
Yeah, I actually really like this candidate. Jokes aside, I think that the vote of confidence, I just want to clarify that the vote of confidence isn't for us to say this person is ready to be speaker right now at this second. We're looking at the potential of this person to grow into the role, and I think he's showing initiative by saying, like, yes, I'm reading the Constitution, I'm reading the bylaws, these are things I'm ready, willing, and able to learn about so I can grow into this space. And ASCS, at the end of the day, is kind of a learning and growing experience for all of us, on top of all the work we do. So I would just like to advocate for a vote of confidence in favor of this candidate, because we're not looking at whether he's ready right now. I recognize that some of the questions reflected that he wouldn't be ready to take over the position right in a second. We're looking at whether he would be ready after the summer, at the beginning of next semester, to take on this role and start leading the Senate. So just keep that in mind when we're doing the vote. I yield.
Thank you. Chair McLaughlin, did you have your placard raised?
I agree with Officer Eddington. While Gavin may not come across as the most mature candidate right now, Gavin has been in ASCSU for 3 years now, and next year will be his 4th year in ASCSU, and he does his job very well. I know not many of y'all work with him. I do see his work all the time because I am budgetary affairs chair, and he is the accountant. He gets things done in a very impartial and well thought out manner. He basically makes sure that any money we spend can actually be spent, which is a very important job. And I don't think he is ready for this role right now. However, I have full confidence that he will grow into this role and be able to do it if elected by the time that he is required to take this position at the end of the year, which is not right now. With that, I'll yield.
Thank you. Chair Grenier.
That's gonna get weird to hear. So as Gavin said, I've known him since I started in ASCSU. According to LinkedIn, that's 1 year and 4 months ago. But Gavin, as probably a lot of you guys saw, does not have the best public speaking capabilities. Bar that, he is an exceptionally qualified candidate. Since the first week I knew him, he's been talking about running for speaker. Beyond that, I mean, as Chair McLaughlin said, he is extremely good at his job. He is very diligent in his work. I have seen this man do work that, frankly, I could not do. I definitely couldn't do what he does in the impartiality that he does. He is extremely good at being impartial and leaving any opinions he has at the door when he goes into his official roles. With that, I think he's a fine candidate, but I would also like to echo that he does need to grow. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Vega.
I'm going to be going against what's been currently said. I do not think this person is fit for this office. I think that in order to run a Senate successfully, you need to be prepared. And if you can't, and that starts with being prepared yourself. And if you're not prepared yourself, how can we and should we believe that this person can be prepared to lead the Senate? I do not believe that this person is fit for the office, and I want to make a quick note to everyone that this person can pass and will be voted as confident with just simply a third of the vote of the Senate. And so I want to encourage you to vote no. I'm allowed to do that, right? Okay, I encourage you to vote no for very obvious reasons. I yield.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak at this time? It's upside down. Is it Vachanan?
Yeah.
Awesome, Senator Vachanan.
I just would like to say that the Senate should be consistent, because on the one hand side you spend like an hour listening about Palestine, which had nothing to do with our business, and on the other hand you are thinking about denying a person who seems to be very passionate. And yes, right now he is not into getting into this, job, but he still has time, and we can see that he is very interested to learn more and grow. Yeah, are you?
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak at this time? Oh, sorry, it was glaring and weird. Senator Johnson.
Hi y'all, I've been here since the very first Wednesday of my freshman year. So we are the people that deal with the speaker most outside of like exec people. And so I'm not here nor there gonna say like confidence this, confidence that. It's just something to think about, is like we're gonna be the ones that have to work with the learning curve and work with this. And so I fully believe in like allowing learning curves and all of those things, but it's also something to consider of like, do we as a body have bandwidth for a steep learning curve? Just like something to consider. I like don't have an opinion right now towards a direction, but just like a perspective to think of is that like we have to deal with how a speaker runs things, maybe not as much as the rest of the university does. So think about future you also. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Barvin? Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you hold the mic?
I do want to say that I don't have like I'm on like neither like side yes or no yet, but I do want to say that since I'm also no, there's always I feel like ACCU can be a learning environment, and something that I do take in notice is that this person was honest and wasn't faking it, and that's something I really appreciate, the realness, and it's raw. Like I don't think I haven't seen that. Like it just like it really woke me up. I'm like, okay, like so I just want to input that honesty is really nice, and it just doesn't give a false like perspective, and it's just very honest, and I just want to put that out there. I yield.
Thank you. Officer Dix.
Okay, I want to start by saying that I'm not going to advocate or like urge any of you to vote for confidence or no confidence. And I'm personally kind of torn myself because I feel like great points have been made on both sides. Gavin, I feel like Gavin is a wonderful person. I remember recently, like when I first joined ASCSU, I had just started talking to Gavin. I had barely even met him yet, and like within 2 weeks of knowing him, he was dropping everything to help me set up tabling on the plaza that he wasn't even tabling for. So he is that kind of person. I think a lot of the accounting work goes behind the scenes, but hey, I used to be an accounting major myself. I can say it's diligent work, but also part of me is a little bit concerned that more preparation was not done, just considering that this is the highest paid position in the Senate. But I also agree with the point that a vote of confidence is not for if he's ready today. It's if he can be ready in like a year. So that's a lot of time to learn. So I just, is that right? Not a year.
I would like to provide a point of clarification that nowhere in the documents does it specifically outline confidence in the ability for someone to run the Senate today versus in a year. It's just your general confidence in the candidate. But also not like in a year, like in a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months. I don't know. I was thinking of presidential elections, but that still wouldn't be right. Anyway, I yield. I just wanted to make those points.
Thank you. Senator Vega.
Thank you. Again, I don't want to seem like an a-hole, but I am going to have to unfortunately double down with the fact that this person was not prepared. And in fact, I'm actually really appalled that this person was as unprepared as he was. And I'm really surprised that so many in the Senate are okay with that, because I'm not. Furthermore, I want to ask you guys to mentally think about this question that who do you want to represent our Senate, us, an extension of us, to CSU administration, to local officials, to state officials, potentially even national officials. I think that's really, really important at this stage. And again, I don't want to be an a-hole, but this is, like I said, really appalled. I yield.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Johnson.
I think I'm sort of coming into the. I think we're locking brains because, once again, been here for a hot second. We've had 2 previous speakers that are really know their stuff, and having been in senates where maybe somebody hasn't fully understood Constitution and Robert's rules, the decorum that we have and the niceties and I like all of you part of Senate, I think is really led by the
To
speaker.
move to extend the timer by 5 minutes.
Is there a second? Is there any dissent? Hearing none, you can continue.
I think the speaker sort of sets the tone for how we talk to each other and how, and what gets said. And I think when somebody is maybe, I feel hesitant that there was not a preparedness, because I think there's a lot emotionally to prepare to turn down people and be like, so actually you can't say the F word for the 15th time today. So things like that, I think I feel a little unconfident in that ability to sort of command our space, because we have a lot of strong personalities and a lot of opinions that often conflict, and I don't know, the lack of preparedness stresses me out, and I yield.
Thank you. Officer Eddington.
I wonder if this is maybe a time where we could all self-reflect a little and ask if we are all always the most professional that we could be in this space and the most prepared we could be for this space. I wonder if it's appropriate or professional in a space where we're supposed to be serious to nominate somebody for 3 different chair positions they do not want to be in because it would get a couple laughs, and then criticize other people for being unprepared or unprofessional in this space. This is a space where sometimes we do laugh and joke a little bit, and yeah, it's fair to say that Gavin wasn't prepared today, but I think it's not fair to say that he can't prepare, that he can't be ready, that he can't do the work that he clearly says he wants to do. I don't know, just to not give him that chance and to not give the students the chance to say, to see, is this a good candidate or not? It doesn't seem right to me, especially when a lot of us in this space do take moments where we're unprofessional, where we're inappropriate, where we're joking in times when we should be more serious. I yield.
Thank you, Officer. Senator Rodriguez.
I think it's also important to acknowledge that at least I can speak from my experiences coming into this space. I'm not familiar with the language. I'm not familiar with the formalities. And also, when we say that we want to reach our students and our constituents do not know what ASCSU is. And so when we're looking into I understand the preparedness might raise some anxieties and whatnot, but if we really want to reach our students and open this space up to our students to the point where they can see other people in these positions and say, hey, maybe I can do that as well, or hey, I don't know about this position, I don't know the language, but I can learn and later on fulfill that, do that position. I think I'm not advocating for him, but I think it's important to acknowledge that, especially since we're always about we need to reach our students. Students don't know about what ASCSU is. I think we need to remind ourselves that if we want to open this space up to our students, we need to remind ourselves that not everyone is going to know the language, not everybody's going to know the formalities, but I think the important piece to this is that he is willing to learn. I asked him about his plans, and he is an accounting major. He's what is it called, detail oriented, there's a lot of processes and like rules with accounting as well. And I don't know, I think he is capable of it. As of right now, probably not, but I think he will be. So yeah, I yield.
Thank you. Senator Garnier.
I personally am leaning more on that side of no confidence. For the last 2 points, I would disagree with that, more specifically just because, as Officer Diggs mentioned earlier, this is the highest paid position within the Senate. Yes, our job is to be doing outreach, however, the speaker needs to be professional. I do agree with Senator Vega that they need to be coming in prepared, even if they're like, with all of Senator Taylor's questions, if they did not know all those answers, that would be something different to excuse, but coming in with nothing really prepared other than just during the session reading over some of the Constitution and some of the bylaws, at least for me, is a red flag. I yield.
Thank you. Just an additional point of clarification, the Speaker of the Senate is not just the highest paid position, it's also the highest position. It's the only position with oversight over anyone in this body. Associate Senator Young-Lunk.
Yeah, I'm a fresh new eye. Hi guys, but I'm a fresh new eye as a perspective, and I understand that you all have personal connections with him and have seen him grow and work over the years. However, as a fresh new eyes, it can give a new perspective, and seeing his unpreparedness and seeing how the Speaker of Senate is going to be voicing a multitude of communities in diversity, that really shakes my nerves a little bit, because if you're not professional or prepared about yourself, how are you going to be prepared for speaking up about a whole multitude of communities here? I yield.
Cool. With that, we're now out of time for discussion debate. So we'll now be moving into a period of voting. Reminder of how we're doing voting. It's going to be by secret ballot, so Victoria is going to pass out really cool pieces of paper, professionally torn by one Giovanni Falbo. And you're going to write either confidence, no confidence, or abstain. If you're a voting member, if you're an associate, you won't be voting unless you're voting in the place of a voting member. Awesome. Senator Singleton.
A motion for a 5-minute recess.
Is there a second? Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Recess.
He's okay.
Thank you. I didn't see it. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You see how many black cars are there?
Yeah.
by student voices. I was a Colorado FFA state officer, a Colorado 4-H state officer. Those are two youth agricultural organizations. Had the opportunity to serve thousands of students, not only in the state of Colorado, but across this nation. And so I've learned how to speak on behalf of people. I've learned how to stay impartial so that you can align with a organization. I know that's a big part of being Speaker of the Senate, is that impartiality. And so I think that's a big strength that I'll bring to the table. A little bit more about me. I love to cook. And so if I could be elected as Speaker of the Senate, you'd definitely be having some more sweet treats. I would try to bake some cookies or some banana bread, whatever that could be. But also I think that I have a couple innovative ideas to bring into this space. Welcoming people with a smile, I think, is the way that people are going to enter this Senate if I was elected to be Speaker. I know you guys have a lot of questions. I have a lot of ideas. They're rushing through my brain. I'd love to talk more individually about them, but I want to go ahead and give you guys the opportunity just to talk to me about my experiences. And yeah.
Awesome. With that, we'll now be entering a period of Q&A by first raised placard. Officer Dix.
Thank you. Hi, Ryer. I just have one question for now, and that would be what is your view of leadership in this role, and what does leadership mean to you as it pertains to the Speaker of the Senate?
Shout out, great question. I think leadership looks like engaging others. Leadership is not a definition, it's an action. Leadership, we must engage those around us. My leadership depends on the leadership of you in this room, your unique individual skill. Whether that's working with the cabinet up here and engaging people in their specific area, if they really like parliamentary procedure and know more about the Constitution, let's pay into those qualities and those attributes. So I would say leadership is an action, right? It is engaging others. I think my leadership style is very much, I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear the opinion of students. I want to see their leadership so I can engage them best. How do I make them feel seen, heard in this space, so that they can best use their qualities to be successful, not only for Senate, but also for ASCSU.
Thank you, I yield.
Thank you, Officer. Officer Eddington.
Hi, Ryer, Senator Roberts, excuse me. How confident are you with your knowledge of the parliamentary procedures?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot I left this out. I love Parley Pro. In FFA, I had the opportunity to participate for the parliamentary procedure contest, so I had to know a lot of stuff. I had to take tests. I also had the opportunity to be not only a debater, but also a chair. And so parliamentary procedure is very comfortable to me. I'm not going to tell you I know it all, or know as much as Gio, but I think that my parliamentary procedure knowledge is sufficient to serve effectively in this space.
As Speaker, you'll also be the leader of the Legislative Cabinet. What experience do you have leading a large and diverse team of people like this?
Another great question. Back home in Fruita, Colorado, I had the opportunity of participating in the Youth Action Council. That was something that we started, an initiative we created, and I got to be able to be the president of the Youth Action Council in Fruita. That was students from across Fruita, population of 10,000 people, and so we had 30 students together, and so there was a lot of different opinions, and so I think I learned a lot of my leadership style and skills from failure. I'm going to be honest, I failed a lot. I took maybe too much control, or I took too much on instead of delegating it and making people feel like they're useful in this space. And so I have plenty of experience not only with the Youth Action Council, but also FFA and 4-H leading teams to success. And so if you want more specific examples, I can give those, but success is something that I drive for and strive for each and every day. And so I think I'd have no problem leading a legislative cabinet to success.
Okay, my final question is, how will you handle conflict when it arises in this space?
You seek first to understand and not respond. I think that's something that I will use not only in my advocacy or amplifying the voice of students, not only in this space but around, but also making sure that I can understand what's happening, both sides of the situation, but also we're adults in this room. And so let's facilitate that conversation together. Let's have respect for each other. This is a community. Let's lay into that community so that we can have respectful discussion and debate, etc., whatever that might be. So conflict, I don't think, my conflict resolution skills, I think, are sufficient as well.
Thank you, Ayul.
Thank you, Officer. Senator Singleton.
All right, I have 10 questions for you. Just four. First question is, how well do you know the ASCSU Constitution?
Ooh, it's been a thing I've been reading for the last 6 days. To tell you I have it all the way locked in here like someone like Hayden Taylor, that would be a false statement. But I am working on getting all that knowledge and gaining that knowledge. I think knowledge through repetition, that's how I do it best, right? My goal is between now and the end of the year, no matter what the opportunity or outcome of this election may be, my goal is to read that Constitution through 3 times so I can be proficient to serve in a space like this.
Awesome. All right, and then how well do you know Robert's rules?
I know it pretty well.
Perfect. And then how confident are you in your ability to stand your ground during conflict?
Great. That's a difficult question, I think, for me to ask, because you gotta stay firm in who you are and what you know, and I think impartiality plays into that. I think not taking a side or picking a side. And that's a question I'd like to ponder a little bit more to give you a really concrete answer. But I think standing up for what I believe in, hearing both sides out, and making sure that we rule with authority, not power, right? Making sure that we're not pushing people over. I think that kind of answers your question. If not, I'll try again.
Yeah, pretty much. I was mostly just wondering your ability, like if there is a conflict, for you to be able to stand up and make sure that the conflict is resolved and things aren't pushed over. But then my last question for you is, how will you manage your time for such an important position?
Great question. I think the nice thing is I haven't made my schedule for next semester, so depending, I can be able to have flexibility with that. I also think that my time management aspect is, I would honestly say second to none. I can really be an effective time manager. My mom and my family, my parents instilled that to me from a very, very young age, how to run a calendar and keep a calendar. Also Teams and stuff is our best friend in Outlook, shout out, because it's gonna keep us on the straight and narrow. So I think that I can balance those time commitments well.
All right, thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Chair Leary.
Hi, Ryan. So I have a question for you, and then I have 9 questions from Hayden Taylor.
Okay.
Okay, so the question for me, part of the job of the Speaker of the Senate is writing the Senate bylaws. Do you have plans for what you want to change?
Ooh, great question. I would say as of right now, I don't necessarily think that there's any improvements or things I'd like to take away from the Senate bylaws. I think things that are interesting to have conversations about, and I'm looking forward to, is like, what's the emphasis in our bylaws on recruitment and retention, and how do we expand upon that? That's the way that we're going to lead this organization into the future, and so that's really where I think I want to have innovative conversations, not only with you all, but with students, just to see how we can get them in this space. So recruitment and retention, I think, added into the bylaws and expanded on into the bylaws will be something that I would want to add in addition to.
And then will you be able to complete this in a timely manner?
Yes.
All right, from Hayden. If a document is not sent out 48 hours in advance, what should be done?
Okay, now I'm sweating bullets. Okay, one thing I want to be honest about is, right, that's something I'm not going to pretend like I know the answer. It has to be read in full in Senate, I know that. I don't know if there's any additional piece that I'm missing there, but it needs to be read in full in Senate if a piece of legislation is to air on the floor. I don't know if I have the whole answer, so hopefully that is sufficient.
And then what happens if somebody calls for quorum?
Oop. That's tough. Quorum would be the minimum number we need to or stay in Senate session in this space. And so if someone were to call the quorum, we don't have quorum, we need to adjourn because we do not have the proper amount of voting members to continue with business.
All right, what is the maximum time allowed for discussion and debate?
10 minutes.
What is the difference between a primary and a secondary motion?
Okay, my Parlay Pro skills are coming out. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm blanking. I'm so sorry. That's something that I keep in my backpack a copy of Robert's Rules of Order. So, you know, oh, look, there's one right there too. And so that's something I'll always have with me. So this is something that I want to go learn about. I'm gonna go learn about it, and I'm gonna remember. And I'm sorry that I don't have the answer right now.
How much time is the speaker allotted for discussion and debate?
The speaker?
A speaker, like how much time is a speaker allotted for discussion and debate?
Sorry, I'm confused by the question. Can you clarify? Like if I am making.
The question is any individual speaker, not necessarily the speaker, to my understanding, or is it about the time period for the entirety of discussion debate?
I only have what Hayden wrote down.
Let's go with Brooke's first assumption of what Hayden meant.
Can you repeat that? Sorry. Brooke.
Can you restate the question?
How much time is a speaker allotted for discussion and debate?
How much time can an individual speak for during the period of discussion debate?
Someone throw something at me if I'm wrong, but there's
Can I just motion to add 10 minutes to Q&A, sorry.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any dissent? With that, we will add an additional 10 minutes to Q&A.
It's also 100% okay to be like, I don't know that specific time constraint.
Don't know that specific time constraint if there's one on a specific speaker during discussion and debate.
Okay, how many times is a person allowed to yield to another person during discussion and debate or Q&A?
I don't think there's a limit on that as well. I think you can yield to whoever you want when you have the speaking rights or the floor.
What is the maximum time for gallery input?
Like per speaker, or the whole time for gallery input? It's 5 minutes per speaker for gallery input. I'm gonna go with that answer, because that's what I know for sure.
That's my bedtime.
Okay. What is the maximum time for a guest speaker?
30 minutes.
What are the 6 types of voting in the Senate?
I'm not gonna remember them all, so I'm just gonna say I'll get back to you on that. I'm gonna go get that as soon as I walk out those doors on my phone.
I yield.
Sorry, I'm kind of impartial about Hayden's questions. Moving forward, Senator Vega.
Hello. Let's take a look here. What are your thoughts on interbranch collaboration?
Oh, all the time, right? I think we're ASCSU, we're for the students. It makes sense to work together. I think there's some cool things that we could do for interbranch collaboration. In addition to the retreat, maybe some additional events just for us to socialize with one another, right? I think creating a community of ASCSU involves getting together. I like to see that as sharing food a lot, so I'm thinking some ASCSU potlucks just to get us together and really have that shared community space. But also building relationships is a skill of mine, and so I think building relationships with other branch leaders as well as just students, I think that relationship piece is key.
Would love that answer. Are we going to be getting brownies?
Sure.
Yeah. How will you deal, this is kind of a weird question, but I'm just curious because I saw it a little bit today. How will you deal with disruption in the Senate chambers?
Oh, good question. It kind of goes back to what Senator Singleton was saying, like if I make a call you gotta stick by it, right? And so I think disruption, the gavel is a very effective way to do that. It can be really loud, and so I think my gavel taps that were instilled in me from my Parley Pro time will show in that. I'm very loud with a gavel. So gavel is how I would definitely make sure to keep that going. Yeah.
Brooke knows I'm a D1 gavel lover. Did you, in thinking about running with, or excuse me, for this position, did you collaborate with Brooke or Hayden at all whatsoever?
Yeah, I had a meeting with Brooke just to talk about the roles and responsibilities, and I have a meeting on the books, hopefully TBD with Hayden, just to make sure that I understand the full scope of the job.
Love that. And then final question. Obviously, we kind of already touched on interbranch collaborations, but what would you do if you were to disagree with the next president of AACSU?
Great question. I would like to say that, we talk a lot about impartiality from the speaker. If it's on a piece of legislation, right, that's amplifying the voice of the senators in this room, right, not taking an opinion on it. But I also think you handle that with basic conflict resolution, a conversation. I get along with most everyone. I think I get along with everyone in this room. And so I don't see myself having problems. I think I have some roommates that we've overcome some conflict resolution. I'm sure most people have. Freshman year roommates, sometimes we have those moments, but those opportunities have prepared me for those disagreements, so I think I can handle that well.
I mean, if you can handle it with your roommates, I think you can handle anything. So thank you, that's all I have. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Garnand.
I forgot I was on the speakers list. I do always love a good bribe of sweet treats. But the question I primarily had was, you mentioned how you had a couple of innovative ideas. I wondered if you would expand a bit on that, of what some of your ideas were.
Totally. I think we should have theme nights in Senate, just to boost morale. Maybe it's Halloween dress up, or it's an ugly holiday sweater competition. I think those are small, tiny, tangible ways that we can do that. Another thing is we're here having some devoted time, so if there's a way that we can figure out to feed senators. I talked a lot about that with Speaker Reese, and so I think feeding everyone would be another way to have some added value to this space. A couple other things, I think bring a friend to Senate night would be really fun, because we talk to our friends about what Senate is, but do they really know what it is? And so bringing them with us, making that maybe a requirement for everyone to bring one person, so that we can get a wider audience in this space. Those are just a couple of the ideas. I like to have ideas, so.
I always love when someone has ideas. I yield.
Thank you. Associate Senator Yunnan.
Hi, Ryder. Nice to meet you. Okay, just a quick question. How would you interact and represent not only the Senate, but our cultural resource centers?
Great question. I actually don't know enough about our cultural resource centers, just to be honest. I want to learn more, and so I think one of the goals of mine before this year is out is to meet with each and every one of the cultural resource centers, just to understand, those missions and visions, so that we can align and represent those students well. But I also think just amplifying that student voice, like I've talked about before, right? Hearing those concerns, hearing those needs, and then just turning around and being an echoing box, whether that's to upper administration or however that may be.
Thank you, I yield.
Thank you. Associate Senator Holman.
Hi, just one question. What made you first get involved with ASCSU, and do you have any specific plans in mind to increase general student body involvement and collaboration?
Retweet. Actually, funny thing that I had is we didn't have a college council in the College of Ag, and so Ellie Lutz reached out to me and said, hey, what's going on here? And so I had the opportunity to recreate that college council, and so that kind of led me into this space. And from the moment I stepped in and we got out at 11 o'clock, I was like, I think I like this. And so that's just kind of where I started and how it began. Another way that I think that I want to engage the larger student body, right? I think the Speaker of the Senate needs to be speaking on behalf of the Senate. I love to public speak. I love to talk. So making sure that I'm out in front of students. And so making time to visit all colleges and spend some quality time with just students to understand what the needs and wants are for this organization. Another thing, just to add on to that really quickly, not to get too long-winded, but I think legislation and writing legislation is a beautiful thing. And so let's teach our students how to write legislation so they can better understand that. So I think that's another way to engage students outside of this space.
All right, thank you, I yield.
Thank you. Associate Senator Peterson.
All right, firstly, shout out Fruita, Colorado. I love people from that area. Me too, me too. Anyways, firstly, this first question that I have for you. How do you believe that you can serve our community and serve this Senate through your leadership? Because I personally believe that a lot of leadership and what it means to be a leader is inherently through service, and that to lead is to serve.
Yeah. I think I've been a part of service leadership my whole life, right? And so I think that I've learned and witnessed what good service leadership looks like and what bad service leadership looks like. So I've been able to modify my service leadership to best serve those around me. It's different when you lead in any space because there's different issues that arise. And so I think it's going to take some, to be honest, like some adapting to get used to this space at the very beginning. But once I'm adapted, I think that service leadership will be easy for me to obtain.
Fantastic. Then one last question for you. How do you seek to represent and celebrate the diversity of our community at CSU as an entirety, considering that the Speaker of the Senate does inherently serve as a very prominent representative to ASCSU as a whole?
I think that we celebrate students, right? And so maybe it's this ASCSU Student Spotlight, however that may look, or a Senator Spotlight, right? Celebrating students around this campus. And I think if we can champion them and we can celebrate them, we're going to see a very high output of association with a good association with ASCSU. And so I think we're going to do that by spotlighting stories and be able to share the stories of our students so that they can feel best represented.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I yield.
Thank you. Chair McLaughlin.
I'm not a fan of getting out at 11 p.m., so I'm going to move to previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Right, if you could take a step outside. Joseph. Okay. Well now, wait, no. Brian's still in the room. 1 second. You're good, you're good, you're good. Coolio. Now we'll be entering a period of discussion debate by first raised placard. Chair McLaughlin.
I have a lot of confidence in this candidate. Ryer has been probably one of the most professional members of the Senate, and I think that includes all of us on legislative cabinet too, in my workings with him, and he's always been very informative, very informed, and also willing to get information he doesn't have whenever I've had questions about college ag related stuff to him. He's also a very good representative for the College of Agriculture. I think probably the best constituent representative here. So I would urge everyone unanimously to vote in confidence of this candidate. I yield.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to Chair Casado?
I'm also not a fan of getting out of here 11, so I'm going to just retweet what Jared said and move to previous question.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move into a period of voting. Obviously, it's the same secret ballot thing as last time. Confidence, no confidence, and abstaining. Senator Singleton.
I motion for a 5-minute recess.
Is there a second? I'm going to count that as a second. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we're in a 5-minute period of recess.
Just take the slide.
Next year I'm going to go from I made my own way. What an easy go. Hey, no,
You should be just sending in this consent. That's all grow up.
It's the Constitution up here. We can't suspend it.
Oh, really? It has to be secret ballot for this?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so lame. Hey, how are you?
So out of it.
Yeah?
I don't know if you've noticed about my chair and stuff. Oh.
I'm sorry, you're right. I should have.
Howdy all. Welcome back. With that, congratulations to both of our candidates for Speaker of the Senate this year. You have passed the vote of confidence. Awesome. With that, we'll now be moving into old business, Bill 5533, funding safety equipment for the student education garden. The author still doesn't exist, but it's to my understanding that Jared was in contact, so if you want to be on the behalf of Epic. Yes and yes.
Yeah, they both got me.
Okay.
Bill 5533, funding safety equipment for the student education garden. This legislation requests $2,982 from the Senate discretionary fund to support essential safety upgrades, equipment repairs, and operational improvements at the student education garden at Colorado State University. Investing in these upgrades will enhance safety, support hands-on learning and research, and strengthen a widely used and growing university resource. There were edits made. They're just small.
I believe we accepted them last week as the entirety of the Senate because there's no like author.
Yeah. Authors. Great. Okay, I'm here not on behalf of anyone because no one asked me to do this, but I did reach out to our new Director of Environmental Affairs, Trina McDowell, to get some more information on this and hopefully address the questions that were raised last week. Actually, I'm gonna go pull up the email she sent me from the person in horticulture.
Before you read the email, can you also remind the Senate, specifically for possibly new people, what the conflict was to lead to needing to contact?
Yes. So, quick summary of this bill. This bill is to provide safety upgrades to equipment that the student education garden, which is part of the Department of Horticulture, currently owns. The conflict was if these safety upgrades are needed, why is the university not covering these? My answer that I received for that is that the student education garden didn't have the funds to purchase this equipment in the first place. They received all the equipment that this money would be going to repair free of cost from the RDEC, which, what does that stand for, Ryer? Senator Roberts?
The Agricultural Resource Research Center. It's the research center.
Basically, they had leftover farming supply or farming equipment that they were no longer using. It wasn't the state-of-the-art stuff or whatever. So they, instead of sending it to surplus to be sold by the university, they donated it to the horticulture department for student education. This bill would be providing money to do safety upgrades to that equipment. So putting things like, pads on the outside so that a student doesn't get like stuck or struck by a saw or something like that. I don't know the specifics, but that's what the money would be used for.
Awesome. With that, we'll now be entering a period of discussion debate on this legislation. Senator Singleton.
All right. Sorry. So I think, since I didn't know that these were donated items, but since they were, would it still be able for the university to help pay for this money, as this is a safety concern rather than just
Oh yeah, you have to yield to me.
I yield.
Okay, based on my understanding, which again, I'm not an expert on this, no. If we don't pay for this, it sounds like either the student education garden will continue using not safe equipment, or they won't use the equipment at all. So, I guess that's something to factor into it.
Alright. Cool, so cool, I think that's pretty much it. My biggest concern was the fact that, to see if this would be at all possible for CSU to pay for, but if it isn't, I think it would be a good idea to give students safe to use equipment.
Coolio, Officer Eddington.
Yeah, so this is discussion debate, so I'm not asking any questions. But I think my position on this is that we do have boards on the campus that are for like upkeep and maintenance. Well, maybe that's wrong. If I'm wrong, give me a point of information, somebody. Give me a point of clarification, somebody. But we have boards that are meant for like upkeep and maintenance of things like this. Listen, I'm stressing about the budget. Everybody should maybe be stressing about the budget. And it just haunts me Jared's voice haunts me from his briefing when he said, no shade, when he said that if we just passed every bill that was coming through for budgetary concerns, we would be in a really deep hole. So I would say maybe we should move this, I would say maybe we should move this to like one of the boards that's supposed to be for maintenance and not in this space where we're providing the money. I think that was good English. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Vega.
Totally forgot this discussion and debate, but Jared, could you give us your, because I have no idea how I'm gonna vote, and I'm gonna vote on based on what you're about to tell me. Do you think this is a good idea?
I'm gonna vote yes on this. I feel like based on what everyone, oh wait, I'm gonna assume you yielded to me. I'm sure that y'all can all figure out I'm very pro food production and education and farming in general. And this project, or the student education garden, is similar to growing food security, except it's more based on educating students on the production of organic foods, I think. That's my understanding. Okay, yes, I'm getting a nod from agriculture over there. But I think this project is a good idea to help our horticulture students prepare for the workforce, be prepared to be the next leaders of farming and organic farming in Colorado and beyond. So I will probably vote yes on this.
That tells me everything I need to know. Thank you. I yield.
Just as a future reference, and I don't think it's constituted anywhere or anything, but in terms of just general precedent, maybe don't yield starting with, I'm going to vote based off of what you specifically say, subject. That's for future reference. Chair Bernier.
Jared, I know it's a discussion debate, but I do actually have a question. I'm sorry. I just want I might have just missed it when you're talking about it.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to entertain more questions. You can. Was there a voice? Okay. We can enter a period of Q&A if that's something you'd like to motion for.
I also have discussion debates. Based on the email, it seems like there's. I feel like typically people wouldn't come to us immediately for funding unless they've gone.
Sorry to interrupt, but in accordance with our bylaws, I'm required to tell everyone we have about a half hour left of confidence business on the clock.
I'll make it short then. So I assume that when they come to us for money, they probably already looked at those groups, like the boards that do this kind of stuff. And it sounds like there's a clear and present danger towards students with the current equipment. I think it's better to use the money to keep people safe, and I'm also very pro farming, and teach them versus saying no and then risking losing this program. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Bell.
I was totally going to ask some questions, but I will not be doing that. And I just want to say that I am in support of this, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we, as a agricultural school that call ourselves the Aggies from time to time, are not paying to keep our students in the ag department safe while they are pursuing agricultural education. That's ridiculous. Thank you, I yield.
Thank you, Senator. Officer Eddington.
I yield. I don't want to put myself in a hole.
Thank you. Senator Roberts.
I'm going to say, from the College of Ag standpoint, this is great, but also, I yield to Jared. Do you have a question?
This is just something to make sure everyone has the same level of knowledge as I do. I'm going to read out the email real quick. This is from Mark Uchansky, Associate Professor in the Horticulture Department. The equipment for the CSU Student Education Garden was donated by the CSU Arctic Research Farm in 2025. They could have sold it to surplus, but they donated it to us on the condition that we take it as is. Since we couldn't afford to purchase the equipment for this teaching space outright, it seemed like a good arrangement. The equipment is mostly functional, but the safety could be enhanced so that it can be used by students and future interns for educational purposes with reduced risk for injury. It is farm equipment, so there's always some inherent risk, but this will reduce it significantly. I hope this helps. Thank you for the updates and your work on this, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's the end of it. I yield back to you.
I was going to do the same exact thing, so I yield.
Phenomenal. With no one else on the speakers list, does anyone else want to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into a period of voting on this legislation. Senator Boone.
You can motion, I was assuming you were gonna motion for a type of voting.
I was.
Cool.
I don't know what the original one is, but I was gonna motion for a voice vote.
There wasn't an original, and we can do, is there any dissent to using voice vote for this piece of legislation? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and do a voice vote. All those in favor of the passage of this legislation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Any abstentions?
Don't be sorry.
I believe the ayes have it, and this legislation passes.
Point of information, this is a space for deliberation. You can say no. Oh wait, I stay up here.
Me neither.
Introducing Jared Part 2, we'll now be moving into new business, starting with Lex
36, I think.
36, renaming the Senate Budgetary Affairs Committee.
Lex 5536, renaming the Senate Budgetary Affairs Committee. This Lex amends the Senate bylaws to rename the Senate Budgetary Affairs Committee to the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. You have 10 minutes.
Yes, this bill basically just does exactly that. Very simple. I didn't like the previous name, so I'm proposing a change to it. I yield.
Thank you. We'll now be entering a period of Q&A by first raised blocker. Senator Roberts.
I think it sounds cool. I move previous question.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, this will go ahead and be sent to Internal Affairs, and it was sponsored by the Budgetary Affairs Committee. DEI. We'll now be moving into Resolution 5537, the Onboarding Establishment Act.
Parliamentarian.
Thank you.
Oh wait, no.
Oh.
Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to be Speaker Pro Tem still, right?
No, Gio is going to be speaker because Barron's an endorsement of legislation.
No.
Oops.
Am I an endorsement?
Oh, we need a speaker?
Yeah.
I'm a sponsor.
Do we need a parliamentarian?
It is not you.
I'll be a parliamentarian. I've been a
Oh, wait, I am an
It goes to Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
I can be impartial.
As per the line of succession, does anyone want to be parliamentarian?
I believe Jared has already volunteered and is up here. Thank you, Jared.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Bill or Resolution 5537, the Onboarding Establishment Act. Such a long list. This resolution aims to codify a standardized onboarding process for ASCSU senators and associate senators to promote autonomy, equity, and continuity. You have 10 minutes.
Howdy y'all. Onboarding is my favorite thing on the planet. Essentially, I started a program early into my Speaker Pro Tem 4 term with a standardized sort of list of topics that I would discuss with incoming senators. We saw it improve our retention. We saw it improve sorts of hostility within the space. Onboarding is phenomenal. I'm happy to take any questions.
Excellent. With that, we'll be now moving into a 10-minute period of Q&A, beginning after I am done speaking with the first raised placard. Senator Singleton.
Have you been able to contact all different college councils to be able to have this be more uniform throughout all of it?
My intention for the difference between onboarding senators rather than connecting our college councils to us are sort of independent to one another. From what I've seen, though, in terms of senators who have been onboarded and their willingness and their sort of agency in representing their constituencies, when they have the information to work effectively in this space, they're more apt to also feel more ownership in their role in their college council, and then we have better contacts. That's what we saw with CVABS. That's what we saw with Warner. The college councils that have had the most onboarding also have the most retention.
Very cool. If no one else is on the speaker list, I motion to previous question.
Is there any dissent to that? With no dissent, we'll be now moving into a period of voting, unless anyone would like to specify.
We will not.
Oh, no, sorry. This will be referred to, do you mind if you scroll back up to see if it's been endorsed by any committees already?
It hasn't.
Okay, it hasn't. This will be sent to Internal Affairs and UA?
Can you also send it to DEI so that I can?
Internal Affairs, University Affairs, and DEI. Thanks, Joe. You're good.
Awesome. With that, we'll now be moving into ending roll call. Senator Bowman.
Since Enoch is not here, I motion to take beginning roll call as ending roll call and let anyone who arrived late jump in.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Thanks, y'all. We adjourn.
Hey guys, I low-key forgot to make an announcement on this, but we're doing a free speech.